I'm so excited. Let's fucking do this shit. Yeah! What up, everybody? This is Jason.
And Bill.
With another new metal edition episode of Nothing's for No One featuring Mr. Edward G. Gobbo.
Hey!
Not to fuck this up, can you turn that light on?
Yeah.
Good to be back, gentlemen.
Great
Yeah,
to have you
welcome back, man.
I think,
Fuck, is this episode like 10 now?
Yeah.
Or something up there?
Have we really made it that far? I was thinking, I was like, fuck, we need
We've
to make
done
a
a few new metal
spreadsheet
albums.
of the albums we've done.
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
I'm like looking, I was like,
Losing track.
did we talk about
Yeah.
that? Did I pick that already? Did
Yeah.
somebody else pick that? I'm like, oh no. I was like, that's right, I'm old and I have a shitty brain.
Yeah.
We've been about 10, and I think, going around society right now, the pandemic looks like it's officially over because no one's doing the mask thing anymore. Shows are running. Things are getting fucking rolling,
I was at a fucking Walmart in Downers Grove like a couple weeks ago, and I was like one of the only dudes that walked in with a mask on. I was
A couple weeks ago, that frightens me because it was still in full-ish swing.
Oh, I know.
And people were just like, nope, done.
Well, that Walmart actually had a sign in the front, though, that said, like, hey, if you are
You're
fully
vaccinated.
vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. But it's
Which,
like,
that's
oh,
such
good
a
luck.
Loaded thing.
Yeah,
It's
good
like
luck
they're not
checking that.
it,
No,
you
they're
know,
not.
Even though people are fearful that they
Yeah.
are. And it's like, dude, they haven't. I don't know. I'm always weirded out by that when you see, like, I saw one recently where somebody had signs it's like, I will not be chipped. I will not be tested. I will not wear a mask. I will not get, like, proved I'm vaccinated. It's like, nobody's asking you for that. Nobody's forcing you
wore
to
a
do
t-shirt?
that. No, some lady with, like, a dumbass sign.
Okay, that sounds like a T-shirt at a truck stop.
It probably is, but
Yeah,
it's
if I
just
saw
it's
that,
the
I'd
weirdest
buy
thing.
it.
It's like nobody's forcing any of this on you. Like I don't understand why you need.
I was
to, like,
born in
like this.
January. I'm loyal.
Yeah.
I'll
Don't
do
fuck
anything
with
for
me.
anyone, but don't fuck with me.
Yeah,
I'll
don't
murder
fuck
you in
with
your
my
sleep,
daughter.
and they
Cross
won't find the
color
body.
line. Yeah,
If you
like
cross
a
my
moron.
daughter. Yeah, those shirts are sick, man.
Speaking of shirts, this is my shirt for this episode.
Love it. Encino Man.
Encino Man.
So far, that may be the best shirt yet.
Yeah, this
Dude,
is a
that's an
vintage.
awesome
This is a
fucking shirt.
vintage Encino Man shirt with the tagline "Where the Stone Age, the Stone Age meets the Rock Age."
Yeah.
They really missed the boat. It should have been what meets the stoned age.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
You remember that movie called I watched our friend Nate watched this with me during the pandemic. Remember that movie called the Stoned Age?
No.
I
It
don't
was
remember that.
almost.
Was that the one that's like Dazed and Confused Light?
No, I would say it's Dazed and Confused heavy.
Okay.
Like it's super awesome. I made Nate watch it one night with me during the pandemic, and he just dragged his
Is
feet.
that the one where the poster? It's like the kids are in front of a car.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It's always on my radar to
Oh,
watch, and I
it
never
is
do.
so tight. So I said to him, he'll vouch for
I'll
this.
check it out.
I'm like, dude, you got to watch this movie with me. And he was just like, whatever, it's your house, that whole thing. And
If it's not a war movie, Nate's not into it, which I found out. I've known Nate for over a decade, and I
Yeah.
just found out recently his shit is war movies.
Really?
Yeah.
He likes war movies?
Never,
Oh.
he never talks about
Never
it.
talked about
He
to
never
me
talks
once.
about
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and he brought it up the other day. I was like, what? Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
There's
I-
some good war movies.
I showed him
I
it.
disagree, but go on.
Really? You don't
I
like
don't
Full
like
Metal
them.
Jacket?
I do. I like that.
Oh, I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
Did you ever see
I've never.
Platoon?
I haven't.
That
seen
movie's
Platoon
sick and
since
fucked up.
I was like in.
Jacob's Ladder, if you really call that a war movie, that's a big stretch.
That's like a half
but that's
a foot
like,
in, and I would,
dude, that's like one of my
that's a good
favorite
one.
movies.
I like Inglourious Bastards. Like,
Oh, yeah,
I think
fuck
that's
yeah.
a lot of fun. But,
Okay, I
but
have
the
a
big ones
question.
like Saving Private Ryan, the more I guess,
Okay, like
dramatic
yeah,
themed ones, I don't tend to
Dunkirk
like.
and shit.
I saw Dunkirk in
I hated it.
theaters,
Me
and I was
too.
just like, fucking somebody stomp on my dick. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's so
done. I'm
boring.
out.
It's so boring.
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful movie.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
shot so well, but I was just like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
not invested in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't care if Kirk dies or lives.
Yeah, dude, he's
Fucking
done,
guy,
man.
yeah.
One of my favorite
Is that the racist guy from Wild Wild West driving a boat? But go on.
My favorite war movie is one I just resaw. It's not a war movie. It's actually an army movie. Have you ever remember one of my favorite
In the Army Now.
No,
Paul
I mean I
Shore.
worship
That's
that.
a great
I
one.
worship that movie. But
The girl from Tank Girl.
around that same time, a movie came out by Penny Marshall. Does anyone remember a movie called Renaissance Man?
I've
Yes.
heard the name. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
I've never seen it though, but I've heard that name.
Danny DeVito.
yes,
Yeah,
it's
that was a great
such
one.
an amazing movie.
That's not so much like a war movie.
It's an
as it
army
is-
movie. He's a teacher
He's
in the
a
army.
Teacher, yeah.
Okay.
And it is, there's so many underlying themes to it, but the main thing is the educational system, how it fails people, and how if people tell you and label you, you're a fucking idiot, it's with you your whole life if you accept it.
Right.
But it's not necessarily true. It's just that the system failed you. It's so good. I love Penny Marshall as a director. Rest in peace, by the way. I think she died a couple years ago. But this was when she was on a hot streak. She did a league of her own around that time, and this was I think this was the one after it, and it obviously had not as much box office success, but the movie's so good.
It is a good one that not a lot of people talk about.
And they had undercard actors, if you will, in that one had Mark Wahlberg, Stacey Dash, who is Dion in Clueless. She was amazing. Kadeem Hardison, who played Dwayne Wayne in fucking A Different World. If you don't remember that show,
No, I don't even know.
Such a good '90s show.
I believe he was also in Sixth Man.
Yeah, he was definitely in Sixth Man. So great film. Check that out. I've one thing I want to address too, which is the two trailers that dropped recently. Was that one trailer? So I don't care if anyone likes Jurassic Park anymore, but the new Jurassic
I'm
Park.
on board. Yeah.
Did you
what's
see
it called? I haven't even seen it.
I didn't see the trailer, but I'm on board.
It's called Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh,
And the plot is
death metal title.
Yeah, the plot is essentially now the dinosaurs live in your world.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, 'cause
whose
they got
world
out
is
at the
this?
end.
Yeah,
Because they
I haven't seen the last one, but I like
kid with
those
some
movies.
sort of disability that I can't remember what it was. Let them out, right? No,
Yes.
the kid's a clone.
She's a clone.
She's not disabled, right?
She's not disabled.
Okay.
But the first scene is the first scene that they dropped with the Fast and the Furious new film that came out. They showed up.
27
Yeah,
in space.
the one with John Cena.
By the way, I am.
Is he in it?
Yeah, he's
Wow.
the bad
Hell
guy.
yeah.
Oh God.
Vin Diesel recently said that they're only doing like 2 more or something like that, and it's done. And if they don't go to fucking space, I'm going to kill somebody.
Leprechaun's still in space, right? He
Yeah,
he
they
had
were
one.
that. And
he,
in the hood.
and
He went to the hood,
and then he went to space, and then came back to the hood.
Yeah, beat that, Fast and Furious.
If the Leprechaun can do it, I'm pretty sure those
Go to the
fuckers
hood.
in Fast and Furious can do
Yo,
it.
I
And if
saw-
they don't, it's bullshit.
Did you see that new Candyman trailer?
Oh,
No.
I haven't seen it, but it popped up on my
Dude,
YouTube.
it
The
looks
second
fucking
the second
awesome.
trailer I was referring to was the many
Saints of Newark.
Oh my
I
god.
knew it, dude. Let's go.
the
The Sopranos prequel,
prequel.
looks so good.
I'm good.
So
It's gonna be the shit.
and then also the Jurassic Park one. Look it up. You have to find a leaked version of it because they're not dropping it online. But
Was it like if you watched the Fast and Furious movie, it was in the beginning of that or something?
yes, and the first scene is a prehistoric battle from 65 million years ago.
Oh hell yeah, let's
yeah,
go.
it's so awesome. And
Who's returning for that? It's Chris Pratt and
yes, and it's so it's a complete cast of this new series:
the
Pratt,
new trilogy,
Bryce
whatever.
Dallas Howard. Chris Pratt, by the way, is now married to Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
Whoa.
Just so we're on this.
what?
Yeah. They're married. They just had a baby this week, I think.
Weird.
Yeah, so just
Didn't he, like,
Father-in-law.
just break up with Anna Faris?
yeah, he did marry her for a while, and I love Anna Faris. But then the original cast of Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum are returning for this one as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Jeff
That'll be
Goldblum
dope.
was in the last one, but it was such a brief little.
This is not brief.
Cameo. He's
This
like,
is
in it.
Oh,
yes,
he was.
they're all
I didn't
in
see
it.
the last one, Jurassic World 2.
Really?
I saw
Cool.
the first Jurassic World.
It's
and I
called
loved
Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty sweet.
The Saints of Newark's amazing. That trailer looks so
yeah.
great. Shout out to Linda Florentino, whose birthday it is today.
She in that?
No,
Oh,
I'm just saying because I saw her.
I heard something else.
She's the actress from Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember her. She's Velma, dude. And she's in fucking Freaks and Geeks, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
She was in The Founder, which is an awesome movie.
I love The Founder
Yeah.
with motherfucking Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's cool.
I'm sure she's a
Wait a
fan
minute,
of the
wait a
show.
minute.
So
That's
shout
not-
out Linda.
That's a
not
McDonald's
Linda
movie.
Florentino.
Did I get the name?
Yeah,
the
she-
name's wrong. Linda Florentino was the girl from Men in Black 1.
Okay, so that's Linda.
Do you guys remember?
Cardellini.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. That's what I thought. I knew
I
it
was like, am I
Linda.
stroking out? I was like,
Yeah,
fuck, no, that doesn't
Cardellini.
sound right?
You know what? I always get
Florentino
those
did shit,
names.
but her career went nowhere.
Linda
after,
Florentino?
like, after Men in Black, it just went down.
Yeah, totally.
Damn.
And then
Genuflect for
there's
her.
also Carla Gugino. She's a different actress, right?
Or Cugino.
Okay, yeah.
Son-in-law, another Pauly Shore reference.
Yeah.
Everybody drink.
Oh man, have you ever seen? So you're a big Pauly Shore fan?
Huge.
Did you ever see
I've
that?
met him.
Did you watch? Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was at a.
You
It was
met the Weasel?
Yeah, it was at a comedy show.
Dude, Max and Alex love Pauly Shore.
No, he's part of my DNA. Like
That's
me and my
awesome,
sister, we were obsessed. I have 2 sisters. This is an interesting backstory for an origin story of me. This will put it in perspective. My sister and I are 1.5 years, 2 years apart.
Okay.
we worshipped Pauly Shore growing up, and there was one movie called Jury Duty, which is one of his
hell
later
yeah.
films, and we demanded my mother take us to see that movie on opening. It was opening day.
Yeah.
And then what happened was my mother, my poor mother, had just had my baby sister, who's 10 years younger than us, or 10 years younger than me. So she literally brought an infant to see Jury Duty.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And that was my sister's first movie.
Oh, sick.
We couldn't wait any longer. We had to see it opening night.
Opening day.
I'm a huge fan of Pauly, though.
Did you ever
was a great
see,
movie.
it was recently released, Joey Diaz put out an episode of his podcast, one of the last episodes he did on the Church of What's Happening Now. It was a Pauly Shore episode they didn't air because he got too stoned and like freaked the fuck out on the show.
He's not a guy that gets stoned,
Yeah,
I think.
I know.
And I don't think he drinks
Well, he, like-
anymore. He's just
I think he's
Joey
pretty
gave him
sober
one of
for
his
most.
his infamous stars of death, like the 100 milligram like fucking gummies, and he's like, you have to eat like a quarter of this, like a bite of this, and he did, and like it's like they had to take off the episode, and then Joey, like, he freaks out so hard, Joey just has to like stop, and he's like, all right, we got to stop, like, because like Paulie's standing up and he's like cursing Joey out, and it's like, whoa, like,
Weird.
yeah,
being stoned out of your mind in an uncomfortable environment.
sucks.
Yeah, it
It's one of
is
the worst feelings.
horrible.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there, and then
Oh, me
it's
too.
enough to renounce not doing smoking weed for the rest of your life. Eventually,
yeah.
get over it, you know. But it's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
Worst feeling. I'm glad this is your new studio, right?
Yeah.
This is your.
Have you not been here?
I have not. I've not been there for a podcast.
Yeah, this
cool.
is the second music episode technically.
We're
First
at
music
a-
episode that'll be aired.
We're at an undisclosed practice space in the city of Chicago,
We are
in a dangerous neighborhood. Bill, your car got broken into.
Yeah.
2 weeks
With-
ago.
You know, a nice smash and grab for you. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know even. I've been,
Dr. Pepper cream soda.
you know, I heard nothing was taken.
Well, no,
Pepper
technically
cream soda.
$1.75 Dr. Pepper cream soda was taken.
Wow. I've been smash and grab so many times, and I've 6. You know,
Wow.
like something.
Fucking
I hold the record, and I know I'm due for one. Like,
Right,
it's coming.
it's been way
and
overdue.
I don't keep anything in my fucking car.
I know people
Yeah.
that just leave their doors unlocked.
Yeah, Paul does that. Paul
Yeah.
was the first guy to put me onto that shit.
Yes,
Where he was like,
that's-
I just leave my doors unlocked. That way, if somebody's gonna get it, they just fucking get it. But
Right.
I'm like, I'm not like that, man.
But if you don't leave anything in there, like I actually, for me, it wouldn't be a bad idea because there's no way they're gonna steal my car because it's manual. Like,
Yeah.
they're less likely gonna be able to do anything. With
Yeah,
it.
good luck.
Good
man.
point. This practice space.
Yeah, I want
is,
to ride in your car, man.
You go for a ride.
I want to. We
I
should.
love parking at this practice space. I used to practice here back
That's
in the
sick.
day because parking is amazing if you like parking over broken glass consistently.
Oh yeah.
Now that my window's broken, I'm looking around. I was like, oh, look at that. There's just fucking
Everywhere.
windshields
Yeah.
everywhere. Like,
What
oh,
is
yeah.
going on? I mean, what are they taking? And then also there's security guards that patrol this whole building. What are they
Yeah,
doing?
It's
What
like
are they
they must wait for that
doing?
dude to like walk in the building. And
I
then
don't
just
know.
I'll give it
run
credit though
around.
because
Yeah.
it's still safer than some practices in the city that allow you to, you
I still
know,
have my
whatever.
wheels.
You
Like-
could.
Yeah.
Some practices allow you to like OD with a friend and then throw them in a dumpster, leave them for dead. You know.
Oh yeah, great. Didn't that happen
So-
here?
Well, some practice spaces allow you to do that.
Okay.
Some are more open minded
see
than others.
Bill and I's band. We were, you know, yeah. We practice in the good area at Superior Street,
Yeah.
and you get what you pay for. You know,
I'm
it's
sure.
just we have a great space, great. You know, no one fucks with any cars
Yeah, look
around
at
there.
This piece of shit room.
We're a professional band.
That area is a little bit better just because it's a
Yeah.
little more like there's houses around there. It's not like this is industrial as fuck. So there's
Yes.
nobody around. We have a school next to us. So obviously on the weekends, nobody fucking there. You know. We were just talking last week that it looks like that there's like that boiler place or whatever across the street. It looks like they turned that into some sort of like reception hall. And like so we saw like
Like an
a
event
party,
center
like-
thing.
Didn't we
yeah.
play like right around the corner from here on that 4th of July show, like a year ago
Pretty
or something, or 2 years
close.
ago?
It's really close to where we
Okay,
are. I think
this is 4th of July weekend. We're recording this, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I love 4th of July. I love every holiday, period. But when it comes down to it, 4th of July, I hate it because, first of all, driving in Chicago right now is a nightmare.
It is
And
dog shit.
It reminds
right
me
now.
of, if I tried to put in perspective the other day when I was thinking to myself what it's like, it's as if the soundtrack is a King 810 song. It's just so aggressive.
Yeah.
And no,
It's a great
I don't understand this, and this happens to me constantly. All right, it's a double whammy with me going the speed limit in my car, and I'm not going slow. I'm not cruising. I'm just going the speed limit, literally locked in at, say it's 45. I'm going it.
Oh yeah.
Then I'm in a position where I'm getting tailgated by someone that swerves around me.
Yeah.
No turn signal. They have these tinted windows are everywhere now.
Yeah.
So you can't see them
See
because they're too
anybody,
cool
yeah.
and they don't want to be seen. But they'll go out of their way to then roll on the window, flick me off,
Yeah.
and then speed ahead. Meanwhile, I check my mail like the next week. And when I was on that same trip in a different, street or whatever, blah, 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 I'm getting a ticket for going 6 miles over the speed limit. So I go, I have no clue what's right or wrong anymore.
Yeah.
People are saying you're going too slow. Meanwhile, someone's saying I'm going too fast and I have to pay it. So everyone just hates each other.
Yeah.
And I'm
Just sucks.
I'm
Just
sandwiched.
caught in the
I'm
you're fucked
rocking
either
a
way.
hard place,
Dude, I just put on, I've been like, especially when I come here, because I take Sacramento basically almost most of the way. Like what I've been doing is I take Western all the way to Logan, and then I take Logan to Sacramento, and then I take that all the way here. But like that strip of Sacramento, once you hit like Humboldt Park, there's like speed cameras left and right. So I just put my car on cruise control on the speed limit. So I'm just like, I don't even have to touch the gas. Like it'll just go for me. And like, because I've gotten so many tickets on that street.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And Western, too. Western's full of speed cameras after a certain point. But once, like if you're south of me, they have a ton of cameras. But once you get past like Lawrence,
anytime
it's
you're
fine.
near school or park, they have
Yeah.
those there. Because I got a warning once when they set one up off of Ogden at the old spot.
Yeah, I have had that. Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck me. I was like, all right, so I got to be a little more careful.
Yeah.
But my number one fear
You're
is
right. Aggro drivers.
and 4th of July
many
weekend
of them
is
now.
I hear everyone knows this. I drive a convertible. It is a girl's convertible, yes, but I do drive one. And number one fear, and this is 4th of July reminds me a lot of Thanksgiving where everyone around Thanksgiving has turkey, all right?
Yeah.
But turkey lingers around for many days after Thanksgiving. There's just
Yeah.
like an excess of it.
Sandwiches,
Yeah.
Just
Yellow
like
King.
fireworks, which is
Yeah.
everyone buys 4th of July fireworks
Yeah.
and then doesn't use them all or overbuys, and then for weeks afterwards you're just hearing shit show up.
Sucks.
Yeah.
It
And my
sucks.
number one fear
It
that
sounded like a fucking war zone out
Yeah,
here last
dude.
night. Like it was
Dude, in my mind, there's fucking kids in front of my apartment building lighting them off every night. I hate it.
And
I've been calling the police, dude.
I mean,
like
they're
I've
probably
got
oversaturated
to
with
that
that
point
shit.
where I'm just like,
You
but it's
old
like
man.
11:30, and I'm like, come on, guys, like please.
Yeah, it's like
You have to do the huge like boom one.
It's like,
Like, does that
can't
one
you
have to
just-
go off then?
you're right. It's like, come on.
But my number one fear is the whole driving by in a convertible and someone tossing one.
Dude,
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
threw one off of the Harlem exit on 290 when I pulled up to the light, and I saw him like throw it out the window and was like right
And it was
over
lit?
290. It was like, doof, like loud as shit, like blew out my eardrum loud because I had my
Whoa.
windows
When was
down.
that?
Maybe like 2 weeks ago. It was
Holy
after our
fuck.
practice, so it was like
Uh-huh.
late too. It was like almost midnight, and dude literally just threw it onto the highway and it blew up
That
in
sucks.
midair.
my turning of corner with 4th of July was way back, not even way back in the day. I was hanging out in an alley. My friend took an M80 and rolled it down. And then it landed right in front of a garage door and blew the shit out of it. And the guy comes out and he's like, what the fuck did you do to my garage door?
Good kids.
And he goes, no, man, it's cool. Like, we'll fix it. And then one of our friends is like a garage door guy. He's like, you'll take care of this, right? And he's like, you just blew up the garage door. Now I'm taking care of this because I'm
Sign me up for
a
it.
garage door guy.
Yeah, Jesus.
I've blown up my fair share of like garbage cans and shit when I was a kid.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that thing called the Works?
the works?
Do you know what remember chemical bombs? It was, you would take this bleach and shit. I forget how it works. And you mix
do
shit
that.
and then fucking throw it. And then it just, it
Or
blows.
you roll
It'll,
it too, and the bottle explodes.
it'll blow,
Yeah, I never
it'll blow
did
up a
that, but I
car.
remember that,
Like
yeah.
it is ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
I love the videos that come in that because the kids don't, because like you're supposed to just take it, throw it or like just roll it, and as it rolls, it mixes, or when it throws, it mixes and it blows up. And I've seen so many videos of kids, they shake it.
yeah,
and
that's
it's
a
like,
mistake.
You're done, and all of a sudden, boom! It blows up in their face, and it's like you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Like, ugh.
And then also the number one mistake, and we'll segue into our first record after this, is don't light a firework while it's in your hand, because wicks don't always work out. Do a thing where you put on the floor and get a Scripto
Yeah, and get the fuck out.
and then run. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, and then there is one thing I'll let pass, which is the cool thing of you have the cigarette in your mouth, the lit cigarette, and then you kiss the firework. And then that's just, you're a badass,
You're a badass,
But you gotta,
yeah.
because if that's wrong, your face is going,
Dude, I knew a girl whose cousin like blew half of his face off like a year or two ago, like with a firework. And it's just he needed to get like reconstructive
Right.
surgery and
That
shit.
bad.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, That's why I won't fuck with anything like that. Like
the worst I ever saw was a guy's pocket got blown out of his fucking down jacket, and it was the funniest thing ever.
Oh,
'Cause
shit.
It was like this bunk ass jacket to begin with that was held together with duct tape, and we just had bottle rockets, and we were like launching them, and he like ran ahead, and someone was like poof, like shot at him because they didn't really hurt. They just kind of like it's like an airsoft like pellet basically hitting you. It fucking goes right into his pocket, and like everybody everybody like freaked out, and we're like and like stopped, and you're like so quiet, just and a bunch of little feathers just flew out. And he's like, "I'm all right." We're like, "All right, cool." We didn't just kill our buddy. Like, yeah.
That's scary.
I've never taken a firework to the face or body significantly. I got shot in the face with a BB gun before, and that was fun. Actually, it was. I mean, like it barely didn't puncture this. It punctured the skin, but it didn't go into the that whole thing. So
Vacation with John Candy. It'll puncture.
All right. Well, our first record.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, welcome, man.
Stoked to be out of the house. All right, let's do this shit. New metal.
Rammstein.
Yeah, we're talking Rammstein.
I've been on like a massive kick of Rammstein. I don't
know.
know why. It's been like
sick.
it for like a month now, and because I heard about Rammstein like most people, I think, when that video Du Hast came out. It was like massive, and it came out of nowhere because it's like, who the fuck is this like industrial-esque German band, you know? And it's all. And like just like that song, like all their songs, they're all super simple and super catchy.
Oh yeah,
like you don't need to know what
It's
the fuck he's
good
saying.
album.
Like it's like the melodies are there, the rhythms are there, and it just works.
Yeah,
like
and
this
you're getting
formula
like
works.
4 on the floor for most of the songs.
Yeah,
You know, like a boom, bah,
and this like
and the
very,
Lindemann
like,
hammer, that he does
the best.
Yeah.
And,
You got to have a good move if you're a vocalist. You got to have a move or a trademark. Like
if you're blowing shit up, you need to have
shout out to the wrestler Rhea Ripley, if anyone knows her. I told Nate about this. You know, Mitch Lerner or whatever, the vocalist from Suicide Silence.
Mitch Lucker.
Yeah, who's that? He had that move, right, where he does the
Christ
stomp
bang. Yeah,
he does
or the Lucker stomp.
Yeah, so it's like he does that.
Oh, okay.
So this was her favorite band growing up, and she's a huge deal wrestler. Every time she comes out on the ramp, that's how she stomps before she goes to the ring.
Oh wow!
So you got to have a vocal trademark.
homage to
But
it.
just shout out to her.
funny.
But so like that. So then that spurred this thing of course, I got to buy the album. I bought the album, which was Sing So, which like I still really like. Like that album is another great one, front to back.
That's the one with Du Hast on it.
Yeah,
that's
and,
the
like,
one with like all their faces are fucked
with the
up on
weird,
it.
like-
yeah,
And it was I love that album. It's a great album. Still.
That is a
There's
cool
There's some
album.
good stuff on there for sure.
That
think
cover's
most
pretty
of the
iconic too.
yeah,
It was a big deal.
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw that
I mean,
around.
you see that from a mile away, you know, and
Pretty abrasive.
that's the other thing about this band. That it's their like, you know, their imagery is like
Awesome.
insane.
It's
It's
so
always so
sick.
good, and they put so much into it.
yeah.
Unlike most bands, you know,
Yeah.
and they still do it.
Oh yeah.
That's what's crazy, and I think that's what kind of helped to their longevity as a band. It's just whatever
That's part of
like,
their art, you know.
and they just keep putting more and more into
Yeah.
it, even like with the music videos and like recently, like so they came out this new album Deutschland.
Is that the
and-
one with the white album cover and the
With the
match,
match
dude?
that's
I
not lit.
love that album cover,
Dude,
That's
that
such a
album's
sick
phenomenal.
cover.
And,
I gotta listen to it.
It does have great songs. Yeah.
And like watch the videos, like
Okay.
the video for Deutschland, the self-title or whatever,
Okay.
is it's shot like a movie.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's
Whoa.
like it looks like they put $1 million
Yes, it does.
into a music video in 2020. Like
Is that when it came out last year?
last year or this
20
year.
I want to say
This year?
that music video. I want to say dropped around first month of the pandemic.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
think that was the first.
Did the
single.
album come out last year? Was it released
I
last
wanna
year?
I think
It
it
would
was
have to
last
be.
year.
Yeah, because it was in conjunction with what would have been a huge summer tour that got
Yes.
canceled.
Yeah,
which they were setting
okay.
up for.
They were setting up huge for it.
Are
They were
doing that now?
I believe is
I
it
think
this
it's-
summer?
I think it's being rescheduled.
Are you gonna
now.
go?
I don't know because like tickets are so. I've already seen them once before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, for the Pledge of Allegiance tour.
Who's on that?
Was
Slipknot, System,
supposed to be Mudvayne. but
Mudvayne
due to,
canceled due to American Head Charge
somebody
played.
was sick. Yeah.
Someone was sick. Yeah. No, but American Head Charge did play and no one played.
Yes.
I was at that show.
And,
No Boba Flex, man.
no,
Not on that one, no.
they were probably doing a county fair, but
Do you guys remember when Boba Flex did that like Gigantour with Megadeth that one
Yeah,
year?
I was there.
Oh,
it's
were
all
you?
because of
Yeah.
what's his name? Son picks those bands. That's why.
David Stains's son?
Mustaine's son, yeah. Justice
Well,
Mustaine.
like you get like a lot of weird bands like that all of a sudden that are just
Yeah,
touring with Megadeth.
I only went to one Megadeth tour. It was a gigantour. It was with like In Flames, Job for a Cowboy, Children of Bodom, and High on Fire. It made no fucking sense. It was one of the weirdest shows, and it was at the Aragon.
Very
Bizarre lineup.
Yeah, it was cool though because I loved In Flames and I loved fucking Children of Bodom. That's what I was there to see.
I love High on Fire as well.
Cowboy. Did you? You like them? I've never been able to get into them, man.
I like their
I've
burger.
seen them so many times though.
they're
They're
a
good
good
live.
burger.
Yes, they are good.
They're awesome live.
They the singer Matt Pike is
Matt
also
Pike.
in Sleep, and I will take High on Fire any day over Sleep.
I agree with you there too.
It
I
just
think High on
has that
Fire's better.
Motorhead aggression to it.
Yeah, it's more fun, and like I could pay attention to it. You know, I saw High on Fire open from a Sugar, dude.
Well, I mean, everyone knows my profile pic for a while was me playing blackjack with Matt Pike. Look it up if you're in.
Really?
Yeah. And what happened was the reason was this, which is Matt Pike walks. This is at Psycho Las Vegas. He walks among
Hell yeah.
the
Are you
fans.
going?
Did he have a
I am
shirt
going
on?
this year.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
And everyone knows they had to jumble the lineup because the European bands couldn't get in. Like Merciful Fate was supposed to be one of the headliners, and I've been waiting.
Wasn't Emperor supposed to play?
They're not playing. Or
Fuck.
maybe they're still kind of.
I hope they are.
But I know Down is headlining one of the nights, and they weren't a headliner prior to that. They got bumped up, and then Danzig, Flaming Lips are playing, Jizza,
Yeah.
and what was the other big band that y'all like? Oh, Cannibal Corpse are playing.
Oh, nice.
Obituary playing.
Nice.
So there's some good shit.
Yeah.
But he walks amongst everyone, and then he like has his wife and shit. Like he's at the pool, and then she's like in like this really skimpy, sexy bikini. She gets out of the pool and gets him the drinks, and then fucking brings it back to him. It's fucking amazing.
Living the dream.
And he walks around the casino, and everyone's just like fawning over him, but they're so afraid to speak with him. And then also a lot of people there are afraid to gamble. Sure. Gambling is very intimidating, believe me. But him and I were playing like rounds of blackjack, and then the rest of the fucking weekend, every time he'd see me, go like just like
Nice.
awesome.
Blackjack.
But yeah, he's cool. He's a cool dude.
That's awesome.
So and then someone went by and snapped a picture when it was us, whatever, doing the thing.
I saw
So-
some video of him and Abath from Immortal were like together and smoking like a joint, and they were both just like yelling really loud. It was really cool.
Old man inside.
Yeah. Oh, it was cool. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
Interesting character. I watched
yeah.
the rig rundown with him.
Yeah, he's interesting, and he's a hero to whatever this new school type of guitar player is that likes the aggro stuff, but also has the stoner tone.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Yeah, big time. I mean, there's a huge influence on that. So, and people fucking go ape shit over Sleep, dude.
Yeah, Sleep is.
Like they sell out in Chicago wherever the fucking play. What do they play? Talia Hall when they play here.
Yeah, and then
right?
also my friend Savras did merch for them for 2 night stint at Talia, and he goes,
Yeah.
there was never a line, or never not a line.
I'm sure.
So that means the show begins, line, and then it's just go
Yeah.
for 6 hours.
That's insane.
Yeah.
fuck.
Massive merch numbers.
Was it just him doing merch?
I think it was, and
Whoa.
he ended up having a good night because people, and they should
tip their merch guys.
tip your
Yeah.
merch person. You know,
Oh yeah.
you should do that. You should tip anyone that provides you a service. And also another thing I'm going to say is this, which is I'm hearing a lot of horror stories about the service industry not getting tipped right now.
Oh man.
And I don't know if that's hyperbole, but I think for the most part it's true. If you can't afford to tip, don't fucking go out right now.
Yeah, don't.
Just don't. Just stay the fuck home. You're being an idiot. And places are understaffed to begin with as they're
Right,
getting rolling because turnover. I moved. I have no. I thought you guys were done.
redid their lives in the last year.
They redid their lives,
and
yes.
they had to pivot.
But yeah, this Rammstein record, getting back to it, came out about first week of pandemic in conjunction with a massive tour that was stadiums.
Yeah.
Stadiums are way different than arenas. That's the difference, which is Soldier Field is not the Allstate Arena. Soldier Field is where Taylor Swift plays.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's where the Bears play. They hold
is.
65,000 people. It's outdoors.
Metallica played there, right?
Yeah, they did. You got to be a massive
It's
band to
interesting
do
'cause
it.
It's like
Are they doing it there?
They were.
Yeah.
That's where the Chicago Day was. Now, that being said, they
which
also
is cool because that was like the first time they played, I think, in Chicago since like over 15 years.
And then also, they're not doing any other. They're not hitting Milwaukee, I don't think. They're not hitting Indiana. So
Oh
it's-
yeah, so it's like you motherfuckers drive.
you got to
out
drive
here.
up,
Everybody's
and it's
coming
also
out
a
to it.
weekend. I want to say it was originally scheduled on my birthday.
Were you gonna
And,
go?
No, this year it sucks because my birthday is this year. I have no clue when the Rammstein show is rescheduled to.
Sure.
But this year, my birthday is September 4th, and Roman Reigns playing a show that day.
Nice. Are you coming?
Well, it's the same day as one of my favorite bands of all time, Kiss, playing Tinley Park with David Lee Roth.
What? I thought they broke up, Kiss.
Yeah.
Kiss, they're on their farewell tour, and shout out to A&E because they're doing a documentary series called History right now, and part 1 aired last week, and it's so banging. It's so well done. I love it so much. And this one airs on Sunday, I guess, part 2.
I wonder if my friend Becky watched that. You met her.
Yeah,
She's
Becky's awesome.
Fan,
yeah, if you're a Kiss fan, God bless you, because they are just a moment in time, and I hope it continues on with me in the band, actually. But Albert plays Gene Simmons. But when it comes down to it, I love Kiss, and they're playing my birthday. So we'll see what happens. Either way, I'm going to a show that night, and I'm stoked.
Go to Kiss, man. I don't care.
But I kind of want to see Roman as well.
Sweet.
It's not as good as you remembered.
Yeah.
I
And
know
it
it's been a
probably
year.
won't be as sick as Kiss, man.
I'm very stoked to say that mine and Bill's
bring
band, Something Is
sparklers.
Waiting, we haven't announced yet. We confirmed our first show back from the pandemic. The real world is getting rolling again.
Dust is coming off.
Yeah, the dust is off. A show is booked.
Yeah.
Not announced yet. We can't
Okay.
announce it yet, but it's happening.
Nice.
So
We're doing
Sweet.
a thing.
Well,
But,
I'll ask you guys what it is off camera.
Rammstein though will I'm sure reschedule, and they had monstrous venues on this run, which was the arena in Houston.
Sure.
Where the Houston Texans plays, where they do fucking WrestleMania. I don't know and I'm sure they're filming the whole thing for a massive DVD. They're gonna have parade floats. They're gonna do everything.
Really?
Yeah, they're gonna go ballistic. It's gonna be like how I imagine this tour is gonna be is when Pink Floyd did Animals or something back in the day, where it was so over the top.
Yeah.
And you spend a lot of money on the front end. On the back end, you get it with popularity.
Yeah.
Because you go down as the number 1 live show. I wanted Slipknot to take this route, and they didn't.
Yeah.
But Slipknot has better songs than Rammstein, and is a better American band.
Sure. More of I think they're bigger here.
More American. They're obviously a better American band because they're an American band, but they're more American.
More appeal to Americans.
Yeah, American iconic status.
I agree.
So I wanted Slipknot to be kind of over the fucking top, but Slipknot's got a lot of haters. I think Rammstein doesn't, because it's hard to hate Rammstein if you don't know what they're fucking about.
Yeah.
You don't know half the time people don't know what they're
There's
saying.
also a level of mystery to them too,
There's
that-
mystique.
Mystique, yeah, big time
because
mystique.
they're never here.
Yeah, and they're like another example of like a new metal band that's not really a new metal band. You know what I mean?
Very
It's, like,
industrial rooted.
Yeah,
Super
it's very
industrial.
industrial. Yeah, which,
know?
like I talked to Eddie about it like a while ago, like bring up the idea of like talking about Rammstein, because it's like, well, they came up in that new metal era, and there's like a tinge of that new metal, like because there's an aesthetic to it that kind of goes along with new metal. There are some new metal-y riffs they're kind of sprinkled in, but really it is like an industrial band at the end of the day. Like if you put them side by side with Ministry, you're like,
Reminds me a
I
lot
can
of Ministry
do
with that chugging guitar.
Yeah, and like how very like just tight everything is, you know? And
It's super tight.
it's not groovy like new metal is.
Yeah,
in
it's
any
just
way,
tight and fast car driving. And yeah, I remember just back in the day, they were heavily rooted in new metal, they would tour with new metal American bands.
Right, the biggest one being Korn that they toured with for
Yeah.
families.
Yeah,
Families,
I did not see them. They played tour with Soulfly as well.
Okay.
And their fans were always, Bill, I know you were a fan of them. I was a fan of them growing up, but they were always the weird kid on the block, the fan, the like legit Rammstein fan. Because
Oh, dude, I know.
it would be
Yeah.
one of your favorite bands speaks German.
Right.
In all their songs, and you don't know what the fuck they're saying. And this is pretty much pre-internet, so you couldn't look it up. I know what a lot of their titles mean.
I knew a dude that worked at Guitar Center that worked there forever, for as long as I've been going, and like he knew me and like my friends and stuff. And I just remember one time we started talking about Rammstein, and he was like talking about it and translating all the like he knew all the lyrics in English
That's
of
nuts.
any song at that time. He knew them all, and it was just. I was like, oh, Keith's a weird dude, but all right, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of these songs I remembered the titles from, which is, I believe, the first song, which is a total jam. This is the album's Mutter, by the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the album.
Mutter,
yeah, I
we're
chose.
talking
I chose
about.
that
Mutter.
just because I was thinking about doing that one Sing So, because that was the one I like jumped on from.
Oh, okay.
And then went from there, because there is an album even before that, which is a great album too. But the following album, when I was looking at the tracks, I was like, oh, this one had like some of the biggest singles.
Oh, yeah.
whereas like Du Hast was like the big single off of the previous album. This one I remember just seeing more videos of it.
Oh yeah,
you heard him in movies. Like it's crazy.
It was very
big
crazy.
time. It's very crazy.
And, like I think that this album is probably one of the more, I wouldn't say necessarily well known, but it's just like, I don't know, it's more universal.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a fan of the band, you know these songs.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Du Hast, if to talk about Du Hast in that video, one of the ways it broke, there was this was the dumbest show ever on MTV, where it was called Say What. It was the dumbest show. All it was it was acknowledging the fact that when you listen to a Nirvana song or a certain rap song that is moving quick and you can't make out what they're saying.
Oh, and you have to.
It would have a ticker below it, and it would just have the lyrics.
Yeah.
So their number one thing that they kept pushing in that show was the Rammstein video because they translated Du Hast.
Okay.
Oh.
And everyone,
there is an English version of that song too.
there is,
funny.
yes,
You
and
bought,
I believe
the
it's
deluxe album.
you hate me, yes.
Yeah.
And so that was it. So everyone's like, that's what they're saying. This is cool.
Yeah.
I'm mind blown,
Yeah.
So that was how it really. I mean, they got huge off it, and the video was amazing. Obviously, and we talked about this before. They have a very Tarantino aesthetic.
Oh yeah.
Especially in that video for sure.
Yes, and in the other video that they did for this, which is Inchville on this record, it's Reservoir Dogsy infiltrating a bank and destroying everyone. That whole thing, and also the Natural Born Killers vibe of glorifying the criminal.
Yeah.
Awesome video, and. The big song on here that I remembered was, and I don't know the pronunciation, the first track, Mine Art Burn, whatever. And then I believe that's called My Heart Burns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
That's a good one.
It reminds me a lot of, there was a big song which everyone remembers from the late 90s where it was P. Diddy did it with Jimmy Page, and it was the soundtrack song from Godzilla and it has the violins, but it's Kashmir.
Yeah.
With
And-
Godzilla yelling in the background.
Yes, exactly.
rapping.
This song reminds me a lot of that song.
I like that song a lot.
We were
that
talking
intro
about
song.
Zach Wilde earlier, and there was a great interview where he was talking about that specific song.
The
from-
Rammstein song?
No, the Kashmir song.
Okay.
With Godzilla, and his son was like listening to it. He's like, "What the hell's going on?" He goes, "It's P Diddy." And like, he goes, "No, that's fucking Kashmir, you idiot."
Yeah.
He's like, "What the hell?" He was so mad. He old manned him. It was so great.
That
And I
was
like, I
that
love
the Ferris Bueller's Day Off Godzilla movie.
Yeah, Matthew Project,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Me and my dad almost came to blows a year ago. Literally,
God.
we're in a fist fight. I don't want to talk about.
over what's the better Godzilla movie?
No. This is the weirdest conversation. I don't even know. It's not going to be a waste of time saying how we got into it.
No, it's okay.
But we were talking about. The answer is some of the worst arguments are when you're both right.
Oh yeah.
And we were discussing whether it was pronounced. This is so funny. No one listening to this knows who the fuck I'm talking about. But we were discussing whether it was pronounced Patty Smith or Patty Smythe. And long story short, we're both right because there's two vocalists. One was named Patty Smith from back in the day. One's named Patty Smythe.
Oh no!
And we were referring to our respective and we
yeah.
almost came to. I'm like, it's Patty Smith. You fucking idiot. He goes, no, it's Patty Smythe. And then we're just back and
You're
forth.
just a dumb kid. You know what you're
And
talking
then finally,
about.
I did the research, and I go, I guess we're both right. But I'm more right, obviously.
That's so funny.
So look up Patty Smith and Patty Smythe. They're
Patty
both
Smythe.
great. Yeah. So
Gotta have to do that shit.
the latter was sang on the hook. Remember that song from her band was called Scandal. It was called The Warrior. I am the warrior.
Oh, I am the warrior.
It was a huge song, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Patty Smith did a bunch of other shit that was not warrior related.
Fair.
Yeah.
So good shit.
Dude, my favorite song from this album was Fry or Fry because I just think it's really catchy.
Because it's from Triple X.
Yeah.
Oh, that is in Triple X. Yes.
And that riff is so fucking
They're
sick,
in
dude.
the movie too, playing it. If I remember correctly, they're like the party or whatever that he goes to in that. I think they're actually in it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like Slipknot and Rollerball.
Yeah.
No, I love that rollerball
That's a
scene.
good cameo.
Oh my god!
It's the
Well,
best.
Conan, by the way, is going away. Conan is
He
ending.
did. He had his last show.
He had his last
a couple
show
weeks ago.
And man,
What?
Yeah, on TBS. He's still going to be doing stuff online,
Oh,
but he's
okay.
done with like late night.
you gotta rewatch.
Retired.
One of the big things with Slipknot was back in the day.
Yeah,
that's
playing
how
Wait and Bleed on there.
it was Wait and Bleed, and they destroyed the place on Conan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Awesome.
Conan did a thing where Slipknot posted a shout out to Conan recently because he's ending, and they acknowledged that we got a big break, him letting us on the show back in the day.
It was awesome.
Because the visual of Slipknot is it was I can't describe it. It must have been like seeing Kiss in the 70s for the first time, where it's larger than life and you don't know how to describe it to the person the next day. Yeah. But so Conan lets them on the fucking show.
Yeah,
they proceed to blow up, and then they're coming out with their follow-up Iowa, and I remember
it was that early on they were on Conan?
No, so they were on with the first record.
Holy fuck.
They did Wait and Bleed.
They did Wait and Bleed in the orange jumpsuits.
Oh god.
And then
damn, that is nuts.
now Iowa is coming out, and that's when their kingdom was about to come to them.
Yeah.
They were just simmering.
Yeah.
It was like ready. And Conan had them on right before it came out, and the intro, I rewatched it and I remember it. Conan does this huge spiel, and you could tell the crowd, whoever was at that, was waiting for Slipknot.
Yeah.
Like their fans were there. And then he goes, these guys are back. They floored everyone the last time they were on here. And he goes, they're playing a song off their new record, Iowa, which is coming out soon. And he just goes, God help us all, it's Slipknot. And then the crowd just fucking goes ballistic. Awesome. And they just cut into it.
What did they play? Do you remember?
Yeah, they played Heretic Anthem.
Oh, that's
in
sick.
In the green jumpsuits.
Damn, isn't there a blast beat in that song? Or no, is that the second song on Iowa?
No, I think that's People Equal Shit has a blast beat.
Yeah. At the beginning. Man, such a sick band.
Yeah,
Fuck.
And shout out to Conan. There will be never anyone like him. He always had the weird
late night host.
He always had the weird guests, and that was it.
Always had
the underdog.
Eric
The
Andre,
underdog.
Tim and Eric. Like I would always watch Conan. Like Conan was my favorite since I was a kid. Like,
I hate talk shows too. I hate him so much.
He's the only one.
Dude, me and my dad used to stay up like super late. He would let me stay up till like when Conan was on at like 11 or 11:30 or something. Like he was the late show.
Yeah.
And I loved it because he always was the funniest to me. You know, like
absolutely.
He always had like the coolest guests on. There were always
very,
fun conversations.
Very genuine.
He put on like he had Dillinger on his show,
Yes.
and shit like that.
Crazy how he opened the
I think
door.
He had Kill Switch too.
Yeah, like so many people like that. The people that just don't get that opportunity ever. Like you would never see any of these people on Letterman or Leno,
he had Faith No More on it and stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But
crazy.
That will never happen again.
Yeah,
no one has the balls.
Never
Too many gatekeepers.
I'm sure that they actually did. They did Jimmy Kimmel recently, and they performed Du Hast, which I found
recently
counterproductive. Yeah, it was probably 2 years ago because I'm thinking to myself, play a new song, but the producers of Kimmel are like, you got to play that song from the 90s. You got to play that, right?
The big one.
And then Conan, he would never do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever you want to play, you want everyone to. So Kimmel is trying to pick up that Conan slack where he has Slayer on whatever, but it's not as genuine.
Sure.
Conan was getting a rad underground band on your stage setup, not this big parking lot nonsense, and crushing it. Just letting you do whatever you want to do. And it was awesome. It was so cool, and there'll never be anything like that again. Yeah. James Corden doesn't have the balls. None of them do.
There's
too many gatekeepers involved that wouldn't allow any of those guys to do that.
Yeah, so I guess I need to start my own talk show, and just let them, the good bands on, and wrestlers or whatever. Pauly Shore will be a guest.
Hell yeah.
The Midwest response to the one.
That's awesome,
in,
man. I support that.
I'd watch it. St. Vitus. was it?
2 Minutes to Late Night.
2 Minutes to Late Night.
Yeah. I like 2 Minutes to Late Night so much. I just wish it was. I want to see 2 Minutes to Late Night if it was real. If it was not pre-written, not we're going this direction. Just
is that
if
the
it was
Metal Injection one.
No, it's the YouTube channel that dude does out of St. Vitus.
Oh, that's
he wears corpse paint in a suit.
Yeah, it's not. I've never watched. I've tried watching it. I couldn't get into it.
Really, it's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun.
They have Mutoid Man is like the house band, which is awesome.
Mutoid Man is the house band.
I'm thinking of something different. Never mind. I know what you're talking about. I've not seen that. I'm thinking of, is that the Slay at Home guy? The guy that was doing those videos?
Yes, he was.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen his. I know he does a talk show. I haven't seen his talk show, though.
Pretty fun.
I told a lot of friends this. My dream job is to host the heavy metal version of Wild 'N Out.
That's sick, dude.
So it's a sketch comedy improv show, but for heavy metal.
Be on it, man.
Be sick.
Yeah, and I'm the host, and then I get sort of all random people who are like heavy-ish metal personas as like the regulars, but they're like underling bands. And then 1 week we have fucking Phil Anselmo come by or fucking Mustaine, and then he's like the guest. And then it goes
That's a
from
sick
there, and then
idea.
hijinks ensues.
idea.
Nita Strauss will show up, obviously, you know. So
Hell yeah.
that's my dream job. And it would be on like VH1, you know, as opposed to MTV because, I think maybe Wildin' Out is on VH1 now.
Dude, my friend Evelyn introduced me to get back to Rammstein. She introduced me to Rammstein. Like that's how I ended up finding
She
them.
probably wore huge black grinders, as they called them, or docks.
It was like a big trench coat.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it was definitely like a product, I guess, of our time. But and I
What
always
album was? Is it this album?
no. Well, it was the 3. So the newest album that was out at the time when we discovered them was the one with America on it, the one with the red album cover
Yeah.
or like the orange album cover. I think
that
it's
was
called
another.
America.
That was another jam of theirs. That was a huge single.
Yeah, and I
All
love
their
that song.
singles
Yeah.
are just
Yeah.
huge. And
That
I
album
think-
had just come out.
They just know how to do the big choruses.
Yeah.
And that's
we are living in America.
when you know that, that's hard. But when you got
Yeah.
it, you got it. So
Yeah, man.
They have a formula. And it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, it's cool. And I always thought it was weird because I'm like, man, it was like the first time I had ever listened to a band that was in a foreign language before I listened to like Norwegian bullshit, black metal and stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck they're saying, but I always like thought it was off-putting because I was just like, man, there's a weird aesthetic to this vibe. Like I always was like, man, that band, they always stood out to me, and I always thought they were catchy. Because the thing was like, I started off when I first heard them, I was like, yeah, I think this is not for me. Like I didn't like it at first, but it was like I remember going on LimeWire and I was downloading all the singles, so I would download the singles
Destroying the
from
family computer.
yeah, no, it was my computer at the time, so. It was like songs from Mutter. It was songs from the previous album, like Du Hast and shit like that. It was songs from the America album, or what is that one called? Isn't it called America? I thought it was.
I don't know.
I don't know what it's called. But anyway, and yeah, and it was like the more I would listen to it, the more I was like, man, I actually like it was like a guilty pleasure for me almost for a long time. Because it was like and then like I don't know, it kind of came and went when I like had my brief stint.
Rice.
And that Rise, that's what the album's called? Okay. Yeah, that's the album I'm talking about then. That's the one. And I remember Evelyn had had all the CDs. Like she ended up getting all the CDs and we would listen to them and shit. And it was cool. They're cool albums. And they're like the best thing is that it's like that album, like Mutter specifically, like I've never listened to it before front to back than like this time, and I actually sat down. I listened to the Faith No More album and this album front to back. I was just like, I'm gonna try doing that, and they were both so entertaining. But this one, I was just like, man, there's so many good songs, and it's like they all are just different enough to make the album like fun to listen to all the way through. Like there literally wasn't a song I would want to skip or I had the desire to skip.
Oh, nice.
Like that wasn't
Awesome.
even on there. Like even the song that you picked, I thought was really sick. I can't remember any of the fucking names.
I
but,
love
like,
you.
I know they're weird.
What's your title?
Zvitter?
And
Yeah.
that I know what that
Hermaphrodite.
Hermaphrodite,
is what it means.
yeah.
That's
Oh, is that what that
that's
means?
the translation.
Rammstein always gets a pass for being politically incorrect because I think it's that German
Well,
thing.
Hermaphrodite flag, dude. That's what
Yeah,
I'm telling
oh,
you.
look at
That's
that.
how I
Full
found
circle.
it. Yeah.
They have a song called Pussy.
yeah, and they have a music video where it's basically a porn, which
Yeah.
is really funny. It's actually a really funny music video, which cracks me up. Yeah, no, I think a part of it too is like, did you guys watch the documentary at all? or
I didn't
no?
have a
It's
chance
okay.
to. I'm going to though.
Where do I see it?
It's on
It's on
Amazon.
Amazon Prime.
Check it out. It's interesting because that
You know that one guy in the band who doesn't talk because he does, or
Flocka?
when he comes to America, he doesn't know a word of English and he just sits.
Flocka and Richard both did not speak English
Really?
when they were coming here.
Just imagine-
Flocka still doesn't speak.
Imagine
English.
just going to a
Richard
country and
does.
just having like English
zero communication.
Yeah, for like 2 months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
insane.
nuts.
They talk about it in this documentary, like how it's interesting because you get to hear their perspective about that, like being in a country as big as America
Yeah.
and a band as big as they are.
Yeah.
How there's this weird communication barrier, even with their
Yeah.
management, their labels, their PR. Like they all talk about how it's like, yeah, it's a little difficult at times, and then because of their stage show of all the pyro and stuff. Now you're involving authorities and fire marshals, and there's a language barrier there, and like it's a very interesting documentary where you get to see like the real ins and outs of that band. And
Oh yeah.
but the other thing that I liked about it was the fact that it talks about their origin and how it really started, and like they started in like 1990. Was it 98, I think, or even no, maybe I'm sorry, even earlier than that, in the
88,
80s. When did the Berlin Wall come down?
Around the late 80s, yeah.
So right around then.
It was I think 86 or something.
I think so.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
right around then, the Berlin Wall comes down, and Germany is like finally opened up, and they were in the
Hasselhoff did the song.
right.
Talking
But
about freedom.
they were in Germany in the part that was like very oppressed, and they were told that like everything from the West is evil and bad, and don't fucking do it. Don't fuck with it. But then the wall came down, and they were allowed to go somewhere. They weren't in a band yet. They were both in separate bands. There was 2 big bands that they had. They had most of the members, and then the bass player was in his own band. The 2 bands come to America because they were able to do it. There was the first time they could do it, and they're like, we want to go to America. They loved Kiss, was a huge, as you could probably tell by how they are, like Kiss is a huge influence. Whatever American bands they could get were like a big influence. You know, they talked to Scott Ian and the drummer from Anthrax, and they were talking about how they came to Berlin, and then when they met them, and they were just like, you don't understand how big it was that you guys came to Berlin for us, like at that time. Like we just never got to see American bands and see how they work, and it just blew their minds. So then they were just obsessed with the idea of like, we need to go to America. We need to see what the culture's really like, because what we were told is all bullshit.
Yeah.
So at the same time, one group is on the West Coast, the other group's on the East Coast. And just traversing America and just, you know, getting into it, and then eventually come back, because it was such a small community of musicians, because it's not like here where there's like, oh, you know, musicians a dime a dozen around here. There, it wasn't really much of a thing. So if somebody was a musician, they knew who they were, like immediately.
Yeah.
So then they just kind of combined forces. Till was a drummer in a band, which is kind of funny.
I can't see him playing drums, but
it's so bizarre.
He seems like he's just built like a construction worker.
A front man. Yeah, you know.
He's literally built like a Chicago land construction worker.
He's totally like a Midwestern guy.
He's a very iconic front man.
Yeah. It's so funny. But so then they formed the band, and then just worked their asses off to get to where they were. And it's funny because like the pyro thing was just always there. And it was also other stuff like I don't want to like demean it and say shock value, but it was just like they did these things to just really garner attention that people weren't doing.
Sure.
And it just paid off in the long run.
Definitely.
And it's funny
taking risks.
Like, taking huge risks with that stuff.
One of the risks is singing in German.
Oh yeah,
massive.
big time.
Yeah, it's a massive
here
risk.
In America, where we still have people that bitch about people speaking Spanish. You know,
Like,
No,
I think
absolutely.
somebody speaking German's gonna get.
At the time, it was a divisive thing. You know, it's just like, what is this shit? You know, and now it's like we could listen to Rammstein. We're like, okay, you know what I mean? It's like not even. I don't even think about it.
What word? I mean, words and music. You know, half the bands we listen to, whether it could be hip hop, it could be whatever. It's all subdued. Where you're like, what did Rob Zombie just say there? You know, you don't even know it anyway. It's just it is what it is. You know.
Well, I know you are big up on like lyrics and stuff like that, and so I'm curious, like, because for me personally, I've talked about it here before. Like, I don't really pay attention to the vocals in the sense of what somebody's saying. I don't. Not that I don't care. I'm more concerned about the melodies and the rhythms and how they tie into the overall music. If that sounds good, I'm on board, which is most bands. It's like, it's hard to fuck that up. But so for me, like listening to Rammstein, it's not a problem that I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah.
It's just another instrument.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like, I think of it when I'm listening to Rammstein, especially this album, like take like the title track, like Mutter, how it's like got that really soft like singing part. It's just like there's just something about like Till as a front man that's just like, this makes absolutely perfect sense. It's like the way he sings on that song, like it sounds kind of fucked up. It's just like sounds like a guy that looks like him would sound.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just like really interesting, and it's like, man, this guy has like a lot to him. And I mean, he looks like an actor to me, dude. He's such a big persona.
He looks like a American character actor that is a bad guy's right hand dude in like Die Hard or something.
Exactly, and it's or like Lethal Weapon or some shit. And it's like fucking crazy, man. It's just like, and I don't know, for me, and I don't know their I'm definitely curious to know what the lyrics mean in English, but like I've seen some of the song titles translated in English, and I'm like, these are cool ass titles, you know, like Hermaphrodite, sick song title. Like that's awesome. You know, or like I don't forget what Fry is, but Fire at is it Fire?
I think it's just Fire.
I thought that shit is sick. You know, I thought it was Fire at Will. No, maybe it is Fire.
I think it's Fire.
Makes sense. Good song.
Yeah,
it's just something about the guy. I think he's just, I don't know. There's something that's so entertaining about him. Listening to those songs.
That's the other thing about him that is funny is like, watching all these videos and stuff, there's plenty to choose from with this band, which is great. But then you watch some of the lyrics, and it's just like, And they're all pretty amazing just on a visual aspect, not even the music alone, but just the visual aspect.
Yeah, I got to
fun.
get down with some of these. I haven't watched
Just
any.
go down the rabbit hole and just
Yeah.
start watching them, and they're so much fun. But then Till himself, like he's like one of the most perfect frontmen there are.
Yeah.
Going back to what we're saying, just like you look at this guy and you're like, there's something about him, and you're just like,
Yeah.
fuck's going on here? Like this guy does look like a fucking villain. You know, like just all these weird maneuver and like all of this stuff, and it's just funny. So then I went down a rabbit hole of Till of like, because you mentioned how he did that project with Peter. I don't know how to say
Tagged
it.
Grin from
Yeah.
Hypocrisy
and
Pain.
and I remember, and
What was
you
it
even
called?
mentioned it to me
Yeah,
too, the solo
the solo
project.
record, yeah.
Lindemann, yeah.
Lindemann, yeah.
And I just never really, I was like, whatever, like just shrugged it off. And then eventually I was like, I'm gonna. Somebody actually, it's kind of how funny. I work a friend of mine on Facebook. So Till Lindemann has a solo group of Till Lindemann, and it's not just Lindemann with that guy.
Oh, yeah.
It's Till Lindemann, and he released a single from it, which is the shit. Once again,
okay.
amazing video.
Uh-huh.
And it's this. What the fuck? I know the translation of the song is "I hate kids," which is.
Oh yeah, I just
funny.
saw the video. Yes.
Yeah.
And the song is awesome. It's just like a more, I guess, like brutal version of Rammstein, kind of.
Cool.
Like, a little more aggro to it than what they would normally do.
That's awesome.
And it's really great. And I was like, this is the shit. And I was like, well, if he's still doing stuff like this outside of Rammstein, I was like, and then I got to go check out Lindemann because I'm just curious what that's all about. And then somebody posted another video of their single, Stay Auf, which means stand up. And that video is the shit. That song is the shit. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, maybe I'll like this album. Listen to the album. I was like, oh, this album's amazing. I was like, all right, I'm
The
sold.
Lindemann record.
So, yeah. So we'll probably do that in the next new metal.
And then
line.
also they have a video for that song "Praise Abort."
Yes.
And-
which is an insane video.
Yeah,
So
that's
bizarre.
it's so bizarre and amazing. It reminds me of Black Hole Sun level bizarre in this. So it's
a
on
very
steroids.
surreal
Yeah.
music video.
I love how, like, an example is this. I love the Till record, which we'll talk about later on, because it reminds me of some dude who's sticking with the tie to his original band. It sounds Rammstein-esque, but it's him with a lot more rope. If I had to ever do a Something Is Waiting spin-off Gobbo project, it would sound like when we did the song Popular, that cover,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
it would sound like that. Where it's just me kind of going, yeah, like one of those things.
A little more tongue in cheek.
And yes, very over the top. But you guys reel me in. So that's what that is. So I equate that with Till just having a lot of rope and doing his own shit. So he could do kind of like, there's a huge, when I listened to that record, I heard a huge George Michael influence. Stuff like that, where it's almost that Euro pop 80s shit in it.
Yeah.
So again, a conversation for another time, probably on this show.
That's some Peter Toxgren shit too, man. He's like a huge Euro trash too.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love every bit of it. Yeah.
I used to be really into Hypocrisy, which was like his death metal band.
Oh yeah,
And,
definitely. I saw them a couple times back in the day for
did
sure.
you? That's
that band
awesome.
was
I
dope.
never got to see them. Yeah, they were awesome, and
Yeah.
they have a fuckload of music.
I
a
saw
lot.
them on the tour. They had a record called, I think it was called Catch 33.
Catch 22.
Catch 22.
Yeah,
I
that
thought it
album's
was
sick though. Catch 33 and Catch 22
is
are both
is
sick.
Meshuggah, right?
Yeah, Catch 33 is
33,
Sugar, yeah.
Okay.
But Catch 22 was Hypocrisy, yeah. That was the first album I heard by them. It was like, that's when I got turned on to them, was when that album came out.
I saw that tour, and
That's
then
awesome.
they were also, I think there was a record, something Alien or whatever, that was after that.
The Arrival.
The Arrival, yeah.
That
Some
album's
alien,
sick.
some alien
that's
bullshit.
the one I might do for the next
Yeah, it's a
Stuff
Charlie
Around
Sheen
With
reference.
episode.
Cool.
Yeah.
I hope you do. Yeah, it'd be fun.
So they were opening up for bands and shit at
yeah.
House of Blues or whatever.
The Arrival is an awesome record. That's such a weird, like, European pop record disguised as like a death metal album.
Really?
Yeah, it's so weird. There's so many weird choruses and like sick choruses and awesome melodies. Like, yeah, Hypocrisy fucking slaps, dude.
They reminded me of a more street, more legit version of what Children of Bodom ended up
Oh
doing.
yeah, well they put Children of Bodom on the map. They were
Oh,
like one
okay.
of the first guys to take them out on tour in Europe. And like Peter, I want to say Peter produced a bunch of their records. I think he produced Follow the Reaper and like some other records. Like Peter's like a big production guy, hence like I think the pinnacle of his career probably with Lindemann. You know,
Yeah,
or at
we
least
were
one of the
talking
bigger
about
things.
this last night as much as we try not to talk about
Yeah.
this stuff before the show. It's just like, how the fuck did Till Lindemann and this dude Peter?
Yeah, I have no idea because
hook up?
even Peter's like production credits, it's all like death metal, black metal shit, like Belphegor and like
Yeah.
you know, heavy shit. But he also has this Project Pain, which is a super like
It's a,
you know,
more
like
the Euro-y
more of that
dance
like popular type of stuff.
Yeah.
And
I would love it. I love it when bands get together where it's two people from two different walks of life doing something good.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to this guy's my friend, he lives down the street from me, whatever. And this is an example of it working. That tandem, they're from different worlds, but similar-ish heavy music from Europe,
heavy music.
you know, so
it's just so crazy to me because like Hypocrisy was big, but they were never that big here. You know, like I don't think they got that big here.
You know, Rammstein is like the Metallica of metal.
Yeah,
bands
in Germany, you know,
they are the biggest German band of all time.
Yeah.
So
Falco was number one until Rammstein came along, and Hasselhoff was number one. Kraftwerk, Falco, Hasselhoff. There's that scene in if anyone remembers High Fidelity, which is
the show or the movie.
The movie.
Okay.
And John Cusack goes to Jack Black. Yeah, I got this band. He goes, I got this band. He goes, oh yeah, what are your influences? And he goes, you wouldn't know them. He goes, try me. He goes, they're mostly German. He goes, Kraftwerk, Falco, Hasselhoff. So that's it. That's a funny line.
Kraftwerk's always a good pull.
Kraftwerk is the number one. Was one of the number one German bands, but now Rammstein's beating them all. I guarantee they've outsold all of them combined. Monstrous band, and I guarantee that in that world, they transcend. You don't have to be a heavy metal fan to. It's almost like Metallica here.
Oh yeah,
where dads will like it. My dad knows a Metallica. You know,
because it's not screaming. You know what I mean? It's like there's all singing in these songs. You know, there's choruses and shit.
My grandmother told me, I just came back from Florida. I visited them. She goes, "Yeah, I like Metallica."
What?
And then she's an 85-year-old woman, so it's just Metallica. Apparently, she likes them. You know,
that's wild, man.
That far.
Yeah, so
that's so funny.
The reach of the good bands is it's unstoppable.
And the cover of Mutter, dude, a dead fetus baby's face.
Pretty aggressive.
Our baby.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just like I have so much respect for this band just because of how dedicated they are to their vision. Like I think that's what sets them over the bar.
Band that does it like that to that extreme.
No,
and
that's
still
like
keeps doing.
Yeah,
it. There's so many bands that like they come out swinging like that.
Yeah, and they can't keep up the momentum.
Exactly, or like maybe the money starts drying up and they're like, all right, we're gonna start cutting that out.
Yep.
We just don't do it.
Once you stop going forward, it's just you're done.
It's a slope downhill.
It's a slope downhill. I bought this record a long time ago. I bought this record in New York City. I bought it on the street of New York City in 2000, like the year it came out. And there was a dude selling bootleg CDs.
Oh wow!
And I go, yep, need that. And I just went and it was $2 a CD.
Nice.
And he went out of his way to
burn copies.
They were burned copies, but he went out of his way to take the layout, and then you could print the sticker on a computer like an inkjet, sticker, and put it on the CD so it looks like the thing. And then he printed out the cover and then put it in a blank jewel case. So he tried a little bit, you know.
That's cool.
But I think I still have that around. But yeah, Mutter was purchased with a few others.
That's awesome.
It was hard to get your hands on CDs back then. You had to buy them, you know. You couldn't just get shit for free like you eventually could, you know.
Yeah. I hear you, man. Yeah, it's a great album.
This is my favorite record of theirs, I think. Maybe.
Really? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't listened to all of them, but it makes me want to listen to them much more.
I now have a list on Spotify that is just Rammstein, so I just put it on
That's
shuffle,
awesome.
and I'm happy with anything that gets played.
Yeah, that's cool.
I
Have you ever listened to their first record?
Yeah,
With
I owned
all
it.
of them on the cover?
Yep, I bought it.
Is it good?
I bought it at the what was the old record store in the city? It was
Rolling Stone.
No. It was the one that was
Crow's
it used
Nest?
to be a label.
Virgin?
Rock Records?
Virgin Records?
Virgin. Yeah.
I bought it there.
Yeah. Rock
And,
Records. I remember Rock Records, man. All right.
But that album, I remember listening to that. I was like, this is just as awesome, and like listening the shit out of that just as much as I listened to
that's
like
cool.
Saints.
I don't even think I've heard of anything on that album, but maybe
you
I
might
have.
have and just not know it.
Yeah.
But because there's some big singles off of that one.
yeah, it's just a cool band.
They're a
I'm a
very
fan.
cool band. Yeah, and I said, it recently went down the rabbit hole of like going because like after this album, I kind of like this was the last album I had bought from them.
Sure.
And then afterwards, I just never bought another album. But then they obviously kept throwing the singles out, or you'd hear them in fucking movies. And I was like, this is sick. Like, I like this just as much as anything else. And like, but never really followed up on it. I think I became a lazy fan, like a lot of people. And but then I was like, oh, I need to go back and just listen to these because there's all the albums I do like. There's nothing I don't like. So then started going down. I was like, oh, this album rules. This album rules. Oh, this is a new favorite song now. Like, it just kept going and going.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, all of them are great. They're all great.
Yeah.
It's just like that Rammstein
That's
formula.
awesome.
That's just
The formula,
works,
the
man.
consistency. Consistency is so important with a band.
Yeah.
They have it.
They really do. It's crazy.
And I love.
And it's the same core members too, I think, which kind of helped a lot with it. You know,
their album covers, man, so sick. Like the one for Rosenrot with the ship on it. I love that cover, dude.
Yeah.
Such a sick album cover. And that song Te Quiero Punta or whatever.
That's like one of my
I
favorite
love
songs.
that song. Yeah, it's an awesome
Which
song.
means
It's like fuck you pussy or something like that.
Or bitch or something like
you're
that.
a pussy and some shit.
fuck you. Good record.
Te Quiero Puta is you want pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You want
You want
pussy.
pussy?
that's what it's
Don't
translated
you
to?
want pussy?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, hey, you quiero
okay.
want. Puta is pussy.
Remember the Yo Quiero Taco Bell campaign with the Chihuahua?
Yeah, it was Carlo Alizarki or whatever from Reno 911 did the voice.
He did. That's right. All right.
Why
All
do I
right.
know
Fuck
that?
yeah. Fuck yeah.
Why do I know that?
Yeah.
Well, you once ran into Thomas Lennon as well.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
In Oak Park. It was awesome. It was really
That's
nice.
sick,
Really
yeah.
friendly. My buddy had no idea. And when he walked away,
yeah.
he was like, who was that? I was like, fucking Thomas Lennon from
Dude,
Reno 911.
And the state.
I was
My
like, yeah.
my ex girlfriend used to work at that restaurant Winberry's in Oak Park.
He used to
and-
go in there all the time.
Yeah,
His-
and
his,
she has like a picture. One time she was at work and she sent me a picture and it's like, hey, and it was like her and him, and I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah, he's in Oak Park a lot because his parents still live there.
yeah,
Pretty funny.
makes sense. Yeah, it's so funny. Very sick, dude. And we have fucking OPRF graduating class of fucking the voice of Dan Castellaneta, the dude that voices Homer Simpson.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
he
that.
came to
Yeah,
our
yeah.
school and did this whole speech and didn't do the Homer voice at all. It was such horse
Because your
shit.
school didn't pay
Oh
him.
my.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
I know, it sucked. Like
Your
they would
school
do.
didn't pay him, that's
Our
why.
school would do. OPRF would do like an assembly every year when I was there. It was like some like ceremony of excellence thing where it would be like somebody from the alumni who did something insane.
Sucking
Like
their own dicks.
one time we had a dude that worked on the soundtrack for Lord of the Rings that showed up. Yeah, which was cool. And then we had the dude that we had Dan Castellaneta, and everybody was like, "That's the dude who voices Homer Simpson." And like some people didn't know because he didn't do it. Like, dude, you gotta say "duh." That's like
Right.
your fucking come on, man. And he didn't do it at all. And I was like, "This is bullshit. Why am I here?" You know, I
That
don't
is
give a fuck.
extremely disappointing.
Yeah,
to
and
hear,
it's like
man.
he's just telling it,
27
giving us
kids
this like
dropped out
shit
after
ass
that
like
day.
speech about like him growing up in Oak Park and shit. And I'm like, I don't care, dude. Do the fucking Homer voice. I'm 17. I don't give a shit. It's just funny that they made like students go to that because I feel like students at that age probably wouldn't appreciate something like that even.
Most kids don't.
Yeah. I mean, I would have felt fulfilled if we got the Homer Simpson voice. But
Agreed.
No. Anyway, should we move on to the Faith No Mua record?
We should.
This record that
I
I've
am-
never heard before, ever.
I am so curious to hear your thoughts.
Oh,
on
it's
this.
fucking awesome, dude. I think Faith No More, like, I've never been into them as a band, but like I've always enjoyed them like from afar. Like I remember you should talk. You start. This is your pick, man.
You know what's funny is, first of all, I want to always try to at least blow your mind when I throw a record
Yeah.
out at you for these new metal things.
This one is a mind blower for sure.
Now, this is what I consider, if someone were to ask me what I think the first new metal record of all time is, I would say this one.
Really?
This came out in 1987.
Yeah.
This record is called Faith No More, Introduce Yourself.
Yeah.
It is technically the second record from Faith No More. They had a first record come out on a small indie label
Was it
about
We Care a Lot?
We Care a Lot.
Yeah, which is a song on this album.
Yes.
And isn't it a song on the next? Didn't Mike Patton do a version of it or no?
No.
Okay.
And then that's important to note, which is a lot of people who are fans of Faith No More. First of all, most Faith No More fans are posers. No, I don't even mean you, dude. I mean, no, Bill, I don't even mean you, dude. I'm talking about there's people who love Faith No More and don't realize that there is a whole era
that
before.
doesn't have Mike Patton?
Yes.
I didn't know
So-
that until this album.
Yeah, that's what I was
didn't
waiting
know it. I
for
was like, who the fuck
because
is Chuck Mosley?
I didn't realize it either because like that song "We Care a Lot" was a huge single. That
Massive.
was one of the ones
okay.
that was on my radar that I liked.
It was in Biodome, another Pauly Shore movie.
Yeah.
There's
is
a
it
there's
really?
a montage
Shore
where
Day.
yeah.
But I just the idiot.
Please
me-
welcome Pauly Shore.
It's a weasel.
Can you imagine that right now if I blew y'all?
Right.
Blew y'all's mind with that?
Yeah.
The idiot
What?
child
Yeah.
that is me back then. Because like I became more familiar, I think, like a lot of people, of the era of Faith No More that was predominantly Mike Patton.
Sure.
You know? Like the big single that he did.
Epic was his
Epic.
big song, yeah.
You couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song.
And that is an amazing
it's
song.
a great song. It's
yeah.
the shit. I love it. And
Yeah,
I never,
that's like the big one for me.
I never really went down the rabbit hole of Faith
Sure.
No More. I had plenty of friends that liked it, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I totally get why people like it,
Oh yeah.
but never went down the rabbit hole. but knew that one song really well. And I just remember finally like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go listen to these albums. And like, and I thought before I had listened to this album that I was like, oh, it's Mike Patton, a man of a million voices. Like,
Yeah.
that guy is all over the place. So I just assumed because that was the only song I knew from this album. I was like, oh, Mike Patton's just doing a voice.
Oh, no.
And then I'm listening. I was like, this is not Mike Patton.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? And then, of course, you go down the rabbit hole, which is so
Wikipedia,
funny.
And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is a totally different
Where's that
dude.
guy now?
Chuck Mosley he's dead.
Right.
He just died.
Yes. Yeah,
And it was, when I say just died, I mean last couple years.
Well, what was he doing even like post?
Yeah, so
Faith
Chuck
No More.
Mosley he had this run in Faith No More. They part ways with him. They get padded, never really look back. The band it's almost like a heavy metal version of the Brian Johnson thing, which is they don't slow down, they actually get bigger.
Yeah.
Because once they came out with their follow-up record to this one, which is The Real Thing, it had Epic on it. It had monstrous shit. Mike Patton looked the part. He was an amazing frontman. He's like a quintessential 90s frontman.
Oh, yeah.
Just the weird clothing looked and sounded like Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah.
And everyone gave him shit for that, by the way.
I know. I read that on
he was
Wikipedia.
he's like kind of a babe, he's just rolling around. And Chuck Mosley's claim to fame after this was for a minute. He really didn't do much. He did some solo shit, and he fronted a revamped version of the Bad Brains, which is a
Really?
legendary 80s hardcore band.
I didn't know he did that.
Yes. And then besides that, he just kind of floundered in obscurity. I think that he did a show in Chicago about 5 years ago, and I missed it. And it was just him doing a solo thing. But this is my singer of Faith No More.
Really?
I love Chuck Mosley. I just love him. And I love this record so much more. It just speaks to me more than what Patton did with the band.
Sure.
And then Patton also became a guy that was, for me, a person that... all right, I've seen Patton so many times in so many different projects.
Yeah.
And then it became patronizing to me as a music fan where like anything that he shat out would be heralded as the best thing ever. And I listened to Tomahawk or Peeping Tom and his record with Dillinger, and I'm like, this is all good stuff.
Yeah.
But if I listen to the record he did with Dillinger, which I think was an EP, I'm like, wow, when Greg gets in the band, he fucking crushes Pat. And everyone's like, no. And I go, no, yes.
He did a really good job, yeah.
And then he did Phantomos with Dave Lombardo and Buzz from Melvins, and I saw that tour, and it was rad. And it's always rad, but it's just never as groundbreaking and game changing as people make it out to be. His last
What do you
band.
think about Mr. Bungle?
This is why I picked this record, is because Patton was in Bungle before he was in Faith No More.
Yeah.
And they basically picked him from Bungle and said, you're going to be our guy or whatever. And Bungle was still kind of going around, and he was doing the two bands.
Yeah.
And Bungle is actually doing dates this summer, and they just booked a Chicago date.
Yeah.
I believe they're playing Radius.
Yeah, isn't it like an like a Ride Fest after show or something?
Yeah,
because
because they're playing Ride Fest.
Yeah.
And then also Faith No More is doing some dates this summer, too.
Yeah.
And one of them is with Korn, System, and Helmet.
Yeah. Wow.
In LA, I think.
Oh,
And I
shit.
think they're doing a few other dates. They're not hitting Chicago with that.
Okay.
But
I remember, weren't they supposed to do like a massive summer tour with Korn last year? Or something?
yeah, and then, man, this is why this is such a Genesis new metal band, Faith No More, because I talked to Nate about this recently. Nate, our mutual friend, Nate Madden. He was at my house, and Fieldy, the Korn was touring this summer with Stained. And
Yeah,
Fieldy
is not doing it, right?
Fieldy's not doing it. He fell back into some bad habits, and he is not doing the run with them.
Yeah.
And then Nate goes, "Are you bummed?" I'm like, "Well, hell yeah, I'm bummed. World without Fieldy not playing bass is not one I want to be in." I'm a big Fieldy fan.
Yeah, he's iconic.
He's iconic, and I know that he's a lazy bassist, whatever you want to call it. But Nate goes, "Who's going to replace him?" I go, "Well, there's kind of the usual suspects, which is the dude from Mudvayne,
Yeah.
but I think
Which is awesome.
They're doing stuff this summer.
Yeah, they did announce something. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're playing some fests. Robert
awesome.
Trujillo Jr. I forget his name,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
some
yeah.
little Trujillo.
Yeah.
But I said my number one option would be the basis of Faith No More, Billy Gould, was Fieldy's mentor.
Really?
That was Korn's favorite band. A lot of those dudes growing up was Faith No More, because it was a West Coast band that just resonated. The funk aspect of what they were doing resonated with Korn And they go, we know what you guys are trying to do. And he took his style from Billy Gold, and they became friends over it. And I said he should be the guy doing this Korn tour.
That'd be really cool.
It'd be really cool. But that's why I look at this as like a Genesis new metal band. All the new metal bands that came out, System were huge fans of Faith No More. They were just, this was their band. And they took that element they broke down the walls. And they said, you could put a funky element into it and be aggressive with it. But then obviously bands like Korn took the aggression to a level that was insane. It was overtly aggressive.
Faith No More is that thing of it's the
Guys, I really gotta pee. I'll be right back.
It's like the greater parts of their sum, like put together. They're this huge thing.
The sum is greater than their parts.
Yes. And so bands like Korn were the parts, and they ran with that part. And System of a Down took that one part, ran with that part, and it's all awesome.
You know what's funny? All the bands you just mentioned are bands that literally, if you took members from it and separated them out, that person's the weak link of their band. They suck. But you put them all together and they create something amazing. System's a good example. I mean, their drummer John's good. Their bassist is good, Chavo. Serge is a total loose cannon. And then Darian is doing his own guitar style. You put them all together, they become the new metal Rolling Stones.
Right.
The Rolling Stones is a really good comparison because those guys have no skill level whatsoever, and it's extremely sloppy, but you put them together and that gel just works.
And it works. Yeah. You put them anywhere else, not going to work.
Everyone always rips on my love. They rip on me for my love for Jimmy Page. I think he's one of the best guitarists ever because he's so sloppy and loose, but the vibe works, and he's perfect in that band. Now, he's not going to shred. He's going to rip solos and stuff, and they're going to be sloppy, but the vibe is just there. He creates such a vibe with his band, and the songs are amazing. So that's the thing. And Faith No More is a band. They remind me of a band like Cheap Trick, where it's a band of misfits that has come together, they have the formula down, and they just go for it, and it just works. There's an amazing band. And this was a record where, when I listened to it, first of all, I love the production. I love a song like "We Care a Lot," which is like an anthem to me. It's the only song that when you hear new school Faith No More play shows that they'll play live. Patton won't fuck with this record, and he had to do it for years when they had a smaller catalog. But once they busted down the doors with The Real Thing, the big record that's all the people that are quote unquote Faith No More fans, they don't even know Chuck Mosley was in the band. Everyone loves Angel Dust. And between Real Thing and Angel Dust, that's basically enough for a set to begin with, because there's a lot of hits off that. So when I saw Faith No More, I've seen Faith No More live once, and it was at Concord Music Hall.
Oh, cool.
And it was beyond sold out, and that venue is pretty questionable. But they did they did The Real Thing, Angel Dust, and then the other two records after that, like bits and pieces of it. And then they played We Care a Lot, and that's a whole set. So it just sucks that this is a dead era for the band, and it'll never be re-embraced. They're never going to do it where it's an album start to finish. They're never going to get back together with Chuck Mosley because he's dead. Yeah. So I would have embraced Patton doing a thing where, hey, the record, I'm doing the Tomahawk record right now, or a Phantom Mouse record. I'm going on the road for 2.5 years with my other shit. And then Faith No More goes, cool, we're getting a Chuck Mosley tour rolling. We're doing We Care a Lot, their first EP, and Introduce Yourself era, and we're playing the Metro. That would have been awesome, and they never did it.
Sick,
yeah.
So
that would have been a great opportunity. And
one of the things the song I picked from this record is obviously Chinese Arithmetic. Reminds me of kind of what Dillinger started doing when they got rolling, which was that obviously Dillinger loved Faith No More. You could totally tell that in so many ways.
Yeah.
They eventually got the singer of Faith No More in their band, but
they went that extra mile that not a lot of bands get to do.
Yeah.
It starts off with that weird programming intro, like it's almost like spidery, which is I could name about 6 Dillinger songs that do that. And then it kicks into like that groove beat.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, they're into a song.
Right.
And it's dancey when Dillinger went heavy with it, but the blueprint of what they ended up doing essentially 10 years later is there.
Yeah.
Rad band. I love this record so much. It's my favorite Faith No More record. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone gives me shit for it. The song "Introduce Yourself's" amazing.
Yeah.
It reminds me.
That is a good song. It's a cool song.
It's like
where they all introduce themselves.
Yeah, it would actually be the perfect intro song on the record, and it isn't.
Yeah.
But sometimes it works that way.
It should have been.
It should have been the first track.
That was a cool song.
I have a friend named Ann who I've had since high school, and there's a song called Ann Song on it, and I always think of her when, that song is, I love that song so much. There's a music video for that as well. And the hit, obviously, is We Care a Lot, which is great. There's a song in here called, and you might have heard this story, it's called Death March, which is literally about one of their friends walking into the ocean and dying. You know that like saying that's going around now, like I guess I have nothing to live for. I guess I'll just walk into the ocean and die. Like one of those things. Feet prints lead to the ocean.
That's sick.
Some guy actually did it. But badass record. It's an easily. It sounds great. I forget the engineer's name, but he did a bunch of shit that was fuck. I'm gonna sound like an idiot now because I'm drawing a blank on what he did. But it was. Oh no, I know what he did. He's a saxophonist, and I forget his name, but he is the saxophonist. He has
Kenneth G.
What's up?
Kenneth G, right?
Kenny G? Kenneth G?
He's like Kenny G.
Yeah.
There's only two saxophonists, which is
Kenny G?
Kenny G and Clarence Clemens from Bruce Springsteen's band.
Nice.
But this guy he was an engineer. And he's been a long time member of the band. Remember that band Los Lobos?
Oh yeah,
they did La Bamba.
Yeah, I know Los Lobos.
Yeah, they are a band that speaks a lot in Spanish.
Yeah, my dad likes Los Lobos, I think.
And they wail. Yeah. They're so good. But if you want to listen to the song La Bamba, and the production on it is an ass-beating production for like 1988.
Yeah.
And then this, coincidentally, has an ass-beating production for 87. It's so good for 87.
I had some grievances with this production, but it was hard to do just because
it was hard. It was definitely
A-B it with the other album you picked, the new Fear Factory.
Oh my! Well, I mean, that's the best sounding record
ever. Because I think I listened to the Fear Factory one first, which kind of a mistake, but in hindsight, but whatever. And then I put on Faith No More, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like, what just happened?"
Oh yeah.
But for the time though, like I totally
makes sense. Yeah,
totally
2020
sense,
versus 21 versus
Fear Factory is this like fucking overly compressed, like
digitized,
total digital, like in your like. If you look at the waveform, it's just one
straight line.
Sausage.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at this Faith No More one, it's all over the place, the way it should be.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because tomorrow, I assume, since tomorrow's 4th of July, it's going to be that hot dog eating contest, right? That we get to watch on ESPN, which is annoying as shit.
Yeah. My dad loves that shit. It is annoying.
There's a couple that is obviously from Naperville, which I reference every time on this show because Naperville is my generic Chicago suburb that I say all the bad shit comes from.
Dude, I'm going to Naperville today.
For like Rib Fest?
No, I'm just going.
Oh, dude, go to Ribfest, bro.
To see in Downers Grove, so not Naperville. Never mind.
But Naperville is horrifying. It's the biggest suburb, I think, in the United States.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
It's monstrous.
Massive,
yeah.
And so based on that, what was I saying about Naperville? There is
Ribfest.
Something was coming out of Naperville. I don't know why I got on that tangent, but I'm glad you have a good time with it.
I will, man. Do you like Naperville?
No, I don't like. It's so.
I don't mind downtown Naperville.
Do you mind downtown Naperville?
I hate it. For where I live in Evanston. It's so hard to get to.
Yeah.
And also, there's nothing redeeming about it when they have Naperville Rib Fest every year, which is like the big thing.
I know.
And they always get a monstrous band, and then they This is the number one thing I fucking cannot stand, which is they underman it. So.
Oh yeah.
One grassy lot where everyone's supposed to park, and then there's one proctor running it.
Yeah.
It's going to take 1,000,000 hours to get in and out of the lot.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's fucking annoying me right now, which is, and it's not, a lot of times it's not the problem of the environment because it's people are understaffed across the board right now. But when it comes down to it, you're rolling up to places and it's taking forever to get like a beer. People are out of swing too.
Of course.
But what I'm worried about is business owners that if you're running like an outdoor, like a Naperville thing or whatever, right? you might want to experiment, and the city would definitely allow it with doing like beer tubs, for example, as opposed to I have to wait in this huge beer line for a mechanical pour, as opposed to just put a beer tub in, get a person, they're going to lit up with tips, they want to do it, and also when it comes down to it, you're going to get the beer in someone's hand faster.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say is this, which is the majority of these outdoor fests, I went to like see, which was amazing. I saw Led Zeppelin 2, which is, for my money, the best cover band I've ever seen. It sounds the tightest. At this thing in Rosemont a couple weeks back, and what happens is they're understaffed to the point where people are just in line for beers all the time, and the line never stops. So you're buying multiple beers that you don't want to drink, that whole thing.
Get warm.
And then they're getting warm. And it's not the fault of the place necessarily, but I'm saying they could clean up. They can make twice the amount of money on beer sales. So just some proof for that. If there's any club owners that are listening to our podcast, that's trying to get the
shit together.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. We want to give you money. It's like that whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Very sick.
But yeah, this record's great, and I do like the production of it. I think it's cool, and I think it's great for 1987. Right now, I listened to another record.
Awesome record.
I listened to another record recently from 1987. You want to fucking A-B it? Be my guest, which is Megadeth, and I love this record. There's a lot of charm to it. It's called So Far, So Good, So What? Came out like the same year. That record sounds like garbage.
Really?
This record crushes it.
Really?
Clean. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that Mustaine was on massive amounts of drugs while recording it.
Right.
And it's just literally him going ballistic on a guitar and them trying to morph to some semblance of order around it, And it wasn't... I think Mustaine did a thing where afterwards he hates the sound of that record so much and he blames the engineer. The engineer, if you look at his resume, he engineered amazing sounding records all around this Megadeth record, but obviously it's his fault.
Yeah, he's the one that sucks at his
so
job.
he recorded all the Accept records. He then recorded some Skid Row records. They all sound amazing around this Megadeth record. It sounds horrible, but it's his fault.
It was an off day.
Yeah,
and obviously they got $1 million to record it in 1987. They still fucked it off,
right?
So
well, Faith No More too. Like I said, I remember hearing Epic on Q101 and shit like that everywhere, everywhere. And then the first actual Faith No More record I listened to like in full or like had in my iTunes library was when my buddy Eric went to the Oak Park Library when we were in like middle school, and he got a copy of Angel Dust there. He checked it out, and then he would get all these CDs, and he didn't have a computer at home, so we would like burn them onto rip them onto my computer and put it on our iPods and shit. Yeah. We were like, yeah, and it was cool. And I mean, I remember there was a song from I think Midlife Crisis was in the soundtrack for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Yeah, that was a big hit of them.
One of the first songs I had heard by them too, and I've never I respect Mike Patton as the guy that he is, and I think he's a talented dude. I've never been I'm not one of the guys that listens to anything he really does other than like that Dillinger EP and like select Faith No More stuff. But they've always been a band where I'm like, man, I always really enjoy Faith No More whenever I hear them. Why don't I listen to them?
Right.
Like I haven't even heard any of the records after Angel Dust because I know they did two within that same time, and then they took that long ass break, and then they came out with one in like 2015 or something.
Yeah, so actually our last record was mastered by this guy named Maori Applebaum, and he mastered the last Faith No More record called
Soul Invictus.
Yeah. There was 2 records that came out before Soul Invictus, which was the Album of the Year and King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from any of those.
I want to say Midlife Crisis is on that, isn't that?
Midlife Crisis I thought was on
Angel Dust?
On Angel Dust.
Again, I avoid those records to some degree because it just gets so not what I want out of Faith No More. I love Real Thing so much.
Of course.
But I'm always go back to Real Thing and Introduce Yourself. It's my shit. And I also do have original copy. If you want to go to my house, dude, I got all the shit.
I'm ready, man.
And I have the original copy of We Care a Lot on vinyl from the first pressing from fucking whatever. Probably worth something. We'll see.
Midlife Crisis was the first single on Angel Dust, released May 26, 1992.
One story I love about this, which is, first of all, everyone, my close friends know this. I was approached about 8 years ago for being the vocalist in a Faith No More tribute band.
Awesome.
And I said no immediately because I don't want to go into that tribute realm just yet. That's like a push the big red button.
That's a retirement plan for guys like us. Yeah.
I'll never. I already said prior to this. I've never quit a band in my life.
Yeah.
Bands have ended because other people want to quit, but when it comes down to it, I don't quit bands. So I plan on doing original music until I'm dead. But if that were to happen and I get offered something down the line for a rad band I like, maybe I don't know, it could be a Faith No More, it could be a Lamb of God, it could be a Pantera, whatever. It's just something that is, and it's got to be something that of a band that doesn't exist anymore. That's the I don't like tribute bands with that. Because if I could see Poison, and I still can see Poison. I don't want to see a Poison tribute band necessarily.
Sure.
Led Zeppelin 2, I can't see Led Zeppelin the original. Therefore, I love seeing them. It's that whole thing. But I was approached because I had this really look. I had this look for like 2 years I was rocking where, and it worked for me. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I slicked my hair back and I put like gel in it, and I looked like a total sleazeball Italian guy. And I wore what's called cockroach killers. They're shoes that have heels on them, so you can hear me a mile away walking. And
I'm gonna look this up. Cockroach killers.
I was like this is when I really took a headfirst dive into being a promoter in Chicago. So I was always like, and everyone just is like, this is a really abrasive look for you, my friend. And then Mike Patton
I don't know what it is, but something's aggressive about the way you're coming at me, man.
Exactly. And then Mike Patton always had the slick back hair. And then when you would see my band Jarred Loose, I would roll around on stage a little bit and do that whole thing. And then these people approached me and they're like, you would fit in our Faith No More tribute band and we'll start making a bunch of money. I go, I don't want to do any tribute shit.
Fair enough.
But I always think of that story with Faith No More. And another one I think of is this, which is Corey Taylor said on his, I think he wrote in his book, and I might have talked to you about this before. The reason he got into music was because of Faith No More. And what happened was he tried to commit suicide when he was, I think 17.
Yeah.
He had a bad breakup. He tried to kill himself through like overdosing on pills, I assume. His grandmother found him, and his grandmother was heartbroken and then put her on his couch for like 3 days and just goes, you're not moving. Got to get this all out of your system.
He didn't need to go to the hospital or anything?
Maybe he did, but like that, he was just posted on his couch, his grandmother's couch for like days. And the 1989 MTV Video Music Awards premiered while he was on that couch. And he saw Faith No More perform Epic, which was a huge song that year. Yeah. And he's like, they're just jumping around having a good time. They're doing this aggressive, like artsy metal. And he goes, I think I could do this. And he goes, I think I want to do this. And that was it. And it was all because he tried to commit suicide. A lot of people that are these bigger artsy rock star personas that have brushes with death, once you get that out of your system, you have a new lease on life. It's It's super weird. It's almost like the opposite of being counterproductive. It's productive, I guess, because it sucks because you have to hit rock bottom and say, all right, now I'm coming out the back end of it. Darkest before the dawn, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with him. And then the rest is history with him going on to do Slipknot, but this happened in 1989. So other than that, he wasn't fucking around with bands before that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Good little story.
Really interesting, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no denying their influence. And I was reading a bunch of shit on Wikipedia about, like, the Red Hot Chili Peppers beef that they had, and now they're friends, and, like...
Mike Patton sounded like Anthony Kiedis, and that's why I like Chuck Mosley better, because I can tell the difference between him and Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah.
Like, there's... No one sounds like Chuck Mosley.
It's just crazy to see how different paths Anthony Kiedis and Mike Patton took. You know what I mean? Like, Mike Patton does all this weird, whacked out shit now. Like, I've seen him do these, like...
Italian opera.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He does, like, shit like that. He's, like, the super artsy dude, started a record label, and then you got, like, Anthony Kiedis still doing Red Hot Chili Peppers songs that I don't like. Yeah.
California Man.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is this, which is the original title, or Encino Man, believe it or not, in Europe, it's known as California Man. It's on it's all on posters because no one knows what the fuck Encino is. Encino's a city in California, so it'd be like taking an obscure city in England, for example, and naming it and trying to sell it to United States people. It makes no sense. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would say California Man is Anthony Kiedis. He loves California more than anything.
He does.
Like,
California.
Shout out to Chili Peppers, though, which is...
No More California Songs, which is a great song by Local H.
Local H, yeah.
They have a song called No More California Songs.
I think it's called California Song, right?
I think
like
it's just called
diss?
California Song. Oh, it's a huge diss. It's just about, like, fuck the Chili Peppers.
We'll eventually write a song where it's a diss on Local H, even though we had a relatively good experience. We played with them.
Oh, did you?
Which should be called, like, was it Don't Worry, Nobody Wants to Get In?
Oh, it's so funny. we had a really fun time playing with Local H. It was a good show for me and Bill because we are 90s alternative kids in one way or another. And it was super fun to play with them. It was just funny because Gabe, who's he's a prickly individual at every show we're at. He always ends up brushing
hard stone, you know.
Yeah, but he we were upstairs at Cobra Lounge, and Scott, who's Cobra Lounge has 2 backstage areas. Scott, who's the singer of Local H, was very adamant about there being separate. It was all the local bands, which is like us, Blood People, who play in this one area, and then Local H has their own. And then Scott, like, he lets like this chick in and slams the door, and then Gabe.
It wasn't even him closing the door. It was like one of their friends that was like trying to close it.
And then Gabe shouts out, "Don't worry, we're not going to try to get into your backstage area," or something like that. Very obnoxious.
Like, don't worry, nobody wants to get in there.
And then everyone who was the in the bands in our backstage area laughed like we're like the kids in the back of the class.
Fuck that shit. That's so lame.
Stupid.
You know, it was lame-ish, but at the same time, we had a really good time playing with them, and they did. Bill and I watched like their set together, and they did fucking kick ass.
Awesome.
It was so fucking good, dude. It was so good. Like
insane.
We'll call right down the middle, and I hope we'll probably play with Local H sometime down the line, but they fucking crush it live.
Yeah.
So listen to the whole fucking interview before someone says they were ripped on you, Local H. We did it. We said it was a backstage area thing. They fucking crushed it live, and they are such a fucking Chicago alternative staple. They're the staple. It was ridiculous. And their songs, they have the songs as well, because you go California song, you know, fucking Bound from the Floor, all Hands on the Bible, all that shit. All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They opened that, I think. They
opened with it, and I was just
oh, dude, that show was so
happy.
sick. Fucking Mike Finnegan from Cobra Lounge.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what was happening that late. He cut a promo before Local H. He goes on fucking stage. He goes on stage with a huge bottle of
vodka,
with
right?
like no, he was touting like he had that bottle of like looked like Cristal, but it was like a CBD shot.
That's what it was.
He goes on stage and everyone is wasted. It's like the dead of summer. It's like around this time. It's like a July.
It was a shit show because
it was a lot of people. It was hot and
drinking.
a lot of people, and it was drunk. It was a drunk day. And he goes on. He's cutting this whole promo like an episode of fucking Price is Right, where they're like, for this, blah, blah, blah. And he was deadpan with it. And I go, what's going on? And then I just put up my beer and he fucking pours a huge shot of the CBD shit and I fucking chug it. But it was really, really funny. And then Local H cut into it and they just whooped ass. It was so good.
Did you enjoy the CBD?
I don't remember. So yeah, it was fucking amazing. Yeah.
That's sick.
That was so fun. That was such a fun show, man. So shout out to Local H. That was really fucking cool. It was right. Cool. I remember it was like around July too.
Yeah. It was hot.
It was hot as fuck.
Nice. Very sick.
That was a good one.
Well, yeah, shit. Should we talk about this motherfucking Fur Factory record?
Furry Factory?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I really have a problem talking about this band because this is my band.
Yeah.
And it's just a problem because they are so. It's almost like my parents are always fighting, and I just want them to be together. No more than anything.
Oh yeah.
The one band, I don't care what anyone says. Like, again, at Skid Row, I want to reunite. So many bands. But it's this band. If they got Christian, Raymond, Dino, and Burton all in the same fucking band again, life would be amazing for me.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, now they can't. We talked about this before. They're a reoccurring theme in our show. They almost legally can't be in a band together anymore.
Yeah.
Burton has left the band after 30 years. He's done. And this record just dropped with his vocals all over it. I guarantee one thing, because I hear it, and I A/B it with others, Dino, and rightfully so or wrongfully so, he adjusted their vocal level in the mix, I guarantee, and took it down a notch.
Oh, definitely.
Because he's in a case where he can't have Burton pop like he usually pops because people are going to be yearning for that when he gets the new singer in the band. So he took it down a notch. There was a little bit. The album sounds phenomenal.
Oh my god.
Who's playing bass on this album?
It's Tony Campos from Static X, your boy.
He did record on this.
I think so.
I don't know. I have the CD.
Know. I didn't.
I know he's in the band now. Like he's in the band.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I mean, fuck, man, this
Tony's in
record
every band.
and fucking Mike Heller on drums.
Yeah,
He
from
was
Malignancy, right?
Yeah, Malignancy. He was in Abigail Williams for a while. He's been like he was a touring drummer in multiple bands and shit. He's an ass beater for sure.
I've seen Malignancy live before. He was unbelievable with them.
This album is Fear Factory featuring a kick drum that's gonna hit you in the testicles.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much, man.
It's when I put it on, I was like, holy shit!
This is
it
so.
sounds so huge.
There's no like bass guitar on this album.
No,
it's so bizarre. Like there's this small, like, because I've been mixing more, so I've been thinking about it that way. But it's just like, it's just all low end is just that fucking kick drum, and there's like this small notch for like a little bit of that bass rumble.
Yeah.
Zero top end from the bass, so it's not in the way of Dino's guitar.
Fuck no.
And it's just balls to the wall, like boom, like dynamic, in your face, like
Yeah.
percussiveness, and it's awesome. I love it.
I mean, obviously, and we know that this record has like a lot of history behind it. So, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
you know, and we've talked about, you
get
know,
to hear.
it's just funny that I wanted to do this full circle because Obsolete is still like my favorite record we've ever picked
that
from
album
like,
crushes.
yeah, and it's just like the sickest thing I think, my favorite thing we've ever talked about on these new metal episodes that I didn't listen to before, you know,
New
like
discovery.
Yeah, and so I was just like, oh, what better way to like? I like the new Fear Factory song, so I was like, yeah, I'll just pick that, you know. But obviously, there's a lot of controversy. Like Burton's not in the band anymore. Like all kinds of. I mean, I follow Dino on Twitter just because he's so funny, and like he's honestly, I will say, like I have mad respect for Dino for like putting this album out and
Me
like,
too.
and just doing it and like kicking ass. And it's like honestly, if Dino's watching or listening to this dude, good on you, man, and like. He should be proud of himself because this record, it's like the music on this album, I think is some of their best. It is so fucking
Rips.
good.
Yeah.
And some like there's so much cool variety on this album, like so many cool different songs. It's just like, man, like he's just proving that he's still got it.
Well,
you know?
Dino just DM'd us like 4 weeks ago. Remember
did
that
he?
shit?
What?
I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Dino.
Oh,
on something
that's not the
on
first
the
time
Instagram?
either.
Dino, yeah. So what happened was
Yeah.
this, which was I was in Nashville, and we're at this gig. Me and my friends that were down there. We're at this gig in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And there's this dude walking around, and he looks just like Dino, but
Yes.
a mini
Yeah.
version of him.
An even minier version of
Oh, and
Dino
you-
because Dino's not
Just-
a tall guy either.
But he's like a little chunkier, but he's just like tall. He's like tall. He's super short. And fucking, I post a picture of him. And I write mini Dino, and our obviously our friends start like just laughing at it or whatever, blowing me up. And then I did tag Dino in the post just like discreetly. And he fucking DM'd me and he goes, "At least the chicks like watching him because like." Which is fucking so cool.
That is
And
awesome.
I just my friends the next morning we were like freaking out over because it was just like that's so funny.
awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just love there's some disconnect there where it's like he's a hard dude to deal with business wise, but he's got a great soul to him
Oh yeah.
because he's posy as opposed to I'm getting to the point where I'm a huge Megadeth fan, and the reason is because when I get around people, for example, who I've been around a lot lately, Pete Grossman, who's engineering our new record, him and I have been doing vocals. I know that when I look at Grossman, that him and I grew up in different areas, but we're both Megadeth fans.
Okay.
And because of that fuels me to still like them. But Mustaine is a person, and it has nothing to do with the overt. He's just a rousing dick. And
Mustaine.
he's Mustaine.
Yeah.
And he's Pete's not a dick. Pete's a
Giant piece of shit.
but Mustaine is a total dick.
Yeah.
That and obviously there's that controversy now with him kicking out Ellefson.
Yeah.
Which all things considered, I'll go on the record as saying I find a smidge unfair. I think that he had.
that they booted Ellefson?
It's a smidge unfair.
I think so.
Because he had to put it in perspective, he did. There's a lot of gray areas now. I know. Sadly, I'm running into people at bars these days that are approaching me saying, "Oh, I'm in an open marriage. I'm 39. I could fuck whoever I want."
Yeah.
So the world is changing, and I'm not to each their own. I'm not married.
Right,
Whatever.
do what you gotta
do
do.
what you got to fucking do. But it's left and fucking right these days.
Oh,
where there's,
yeah, it's the
there's
commonplace.
It's like yes, like marriages are becoming super commonplace to be open or whatever. I don't know. I prefer dating someone who's not married.
Yeah.
If I had my choice, yeah, it'd be nice if they
there's a
weren't
few
married,
friends we
yeah.
have who like dating married women, and I'll just leave it at that. But
Hey,
you guys know who you are. But that
Know
and
who you are.
I don't want to meet up with these dudes when they're hanging out with their married women friends
Yeah.
because what happens
Feel
is
guilty by association.
occasionally the husband rolls up and he
Yeah.
fucking wants to kick everyone's ass that's
Yeah.
fucking moving. But that being said, Ellefson did have he had a computer relationship.
Yeah.
So that
online.
means it's not, all right, I guess that's a form of cheating, whatever, but it's kind of in the same realm of, in the 90s, there was a big fucking movement where people said that watching porn and jerking off to it was cheating, essentially. And then now, obviously, that argument's been settled where it's not. That's
nobody brings that
fucking,
up.
the
Yeah,
concept of being
insane.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
okay? But the bottom line is they did have a consensual relationship and she was of age. Is that worth him getting ousted from the band that he helped fucking get to this pinnacle? It was a bad look. It was a black eye for the band a little
yeah,
bit.
big time.
But at the same time, I don't know if it's worth him getting kicked out for because, again, the relationship was the person on the other side of it says it was 100% consensual. I was 100% of age.
What exactly happened? These
He was
videos just leak?
Yeah, his
videos of him jacking off.
Yeah,
I saw the video.
Really?
that was recorded illegally by the girl's friend.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they immediately tried to pin it on him, saying you're jerking off with a teenager.
Yeah, and they
she was
accused
a
him of,
teenager because
grooming
she was a teenager, but they met when she was 19.
Okay.
All right,
Wait,
now
how old is she now?
like
24, something like
some shit like that.
Something,
She's a legal adult.
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah, but I mean, like
Even at 19, she's still technically a legal.
No, I mean not technically. You are. I mean you are. I mean I don't like dating 19-year-olds. All right, I'm
Right,
like
yeah,
don't
yeah,
fuck.
yeah, like-
But if you can't roll with me to a bar, don't fucking. You're not taking up my dance card at this point in my life. But it is legal to date a 19-year-old if you're 50 whatever.
Yeah, you
All
could
right?
do it. It's
Brad
fucked up, but-
Garrett from fucking whatever. Brad Garrett, who's the big comedian from Everybody Loves Raymond. You know that dude?
Yeah.
Not Raymond Romano or whatever. I ran into him in Vegas like fucking a million years ago. He was 50 whatever, and he was with like a 19-year-old that was his serious girlfriend. They looked like
father and daughter,
to say the least, dude. It was like father and young daughter.
Right.
Whoa, that's nasty.
So, but
daughter from another marriage. Like
she was of age, and they were in a casino or whatever. But she wasn't. All right, if memory serves, she wasn't allowed to sit at the table.
yeah, if you're not 21,
That was the thing. I was like, she's not fucking 21.
Why would you even want to take somebody like that? I don't know. Like,
who knows?
Teach your own and whatever.
But
it's just like I'm with you. It's like if I can't take you to a bar or even a fucking table at a fucking casino.
Yeah, it's a no.
What are we doing?
Yeah,
Exactly.
What are we doing?
Mm-hmm. So I'm just thinking, I think Elfson got a little bit of a bad shake because Mustaine is the kiss of death. He does whatever he wants when he wants. So that's why when people try to put Dino into this fucking lump of he's an asshole, dictator band member, I'm like, Mustaine is. Kerry King's a little bit like that too.
What it sounds like is big Megadeth is what that is.
Yeah, it's like big.
It was
Yeah,
just a conspiracy to get that dude out of the band.
no, they are like a big pharma. And when it comes down to it, Mustaine is just still, I love his riffs. I love what he's about. He's never fucking. It's always someone else's fault with that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The engineer sucking. I got kicked out of Metallica because they were assholes. No second chance. You were the drunken asshole.
Yeah.
Everyone who hates my ass because I'm not in Metallica, it's their fault for being dicks. Well, they're fans and they worship Metallica because that's the end all be all American metal band.
Sure.
Now you're number 2, and you ain't even number 2, dude. Like there are bands that Pantera, no offense, is a bigger band than Megadeth. And I can start listing other bands. Slipknot is a bigger American metal band than Megadeth. It goes from there. So let's not me break out the pen and paper and start listing bands. You're not number 2, dude. I'm sorry. Yeah. I love Megadeth. I love them so much. I could talk to you for fucking countless hours about their catalog. I think Nate just did a podcast where they were discussing Megadeth records.
I thought it was Metallica records.
He told me some shit at his house or my house.
They were doing he did a Metallica one. Maybe he's doing a Megadeth one too. But I thought it was Metallica records.
And
what did he do?
He did like a podcast with a bunch like Alex Kirshenbaum, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Metallica records? I thought though.
Metallica.
Yeah.
They
like ranked the Metallica
albums. Yeah.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah. I don't
Is
know if
that
it's
out?
even. I don't think so.
They just have it, right?
I
They're
think.
sitting
I
on
don't
it.
know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it.
Somebody release it.
Yeah, we'll release it for him. Fuck.
Yeah, we'll put it on our
We
show.
could.
Okay, I don't know.
But
Somebody's got the files given to me.
Yeah.
it sucks because again, Burton's out of the band.
Yeah.
This dude I know
By his own volition, obviously. So it's been well known and it's been circulated in the metal media that Burton is so fucking done with Fear Factory.
He apparently went bankrupt twice over the band.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I know that a lot of people during the 2000s when everything crashed went bankrupt from different walks of life. I don't know how you go bankrupt again.
Yeah.
But it's all because of legal fees, and then I think at the end of the day came out that Burton owed Christian and Raymond after the court settlement like $1 million.
Holy fuck.
And he had to fucking pay that. And
Dino didn't?
No, what happened was it's hard to describe, but he lost his share to the band of the band name to pay this legal bill. And then Dino apparently went up for auction and Dino bought it, and that was like the Charlotte broke the camel's back. It's almost like Dino picked up the pieces and said, okay, I got it now, but Dino is the end all be all owner at this point.
Yeah.
And now Burton's like, fuck this. Like, and it sucks. It sucks for literally everyone involved, the fans the most. And the thing that's really sucks is this, which is there's so many bands that are trying to do it still, where they come out with records on the back half of their career. It's not even the back half. It's like the tail end, and they suck. And this record's so good.
Oh, yeah. And Burton's vocals are awesome on it, too. Like, he does some awesome shit.
As fucking warbly as possible. There's
Yeah.
no tremolo, there's no vibrato in that guy's voice
No.
ever.
It's
And
one
it
note.
cracks me up
Yeah.
so much.
It's
just
sick,
so,
though.
It works. It works.
Just like there's,
You know?
man, the first song, Recode, awesome fucking song.
Recode is awesome.
Dude, the
Yeah.
last
Fuel
track
Injected
is-
Suicide Machine is awesome.
Love
Last
it.
track, I
Mash
forget
Last
the,
track is my favorite.
And
And
that's
that stutter at it.
awesome.
oh, it's
And they do it like 4 or 5 times.
Is
Just
it-
put it on a loop. Just
isn't
put
it
it on a loop. I
isn't
love
it called
every time.
isn't it called End of Line?
End of the line.
No,
yeah.
End of Line.
End of line or
Me
end
too.
of
End of
line?
Line, which is what's cool about the title. I think it just goes End of Line.
Yeah,
Dun, dun,
end
dun.
of line.
End of
Yeah.
line.
Which is fucking
Yeah,
Yeah.
that track.
dude.
fucking
Shout out to Burton C.
rips.
Bell, who is
Yeah.
untouchable.
Yeah.
He's number one. My
He
friend,
rules, yeah.
my
Hell yeah.
friend Burton C. Bell's hanging in Los Angeles right now, and I know a guy who was at dinner with him last night. And they posted like an Instagram thing, and I texted him straight up, and I go, "Dude, Burton C. Bell's my favorite vocalist of all time." He ignored me, never got back to me. But I
fuck
was
Good for you,
That guy.
Gobbo.
I would have been like, dude, let's call this guy right now and make his life, you know? But Burton's the shit, man. And he's so great on this record. Dino is on fire.
Oh my god!
And-
just the intro of Recode is like, oh, getting your ass beat.
And
the
the-
pick hand is fucking killing it.
The second song on the record was their single off it,
Disruptor.
Disruptor,
Yeah.
which is great. Down to down to down to down 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 down.
Yeah, so sick. Such a sick groove.
You could totally tell that Dino is a guy that got influenced in a positive way by bands that he influenced, meaning
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
like
it came around.
like so here's what I would say. I guarantee bands like Emur, Veil of Maya
Oh, yeah.
were Fear Factory fans and even liked and
After the
embraced
burial and shit like that.
they
Yeah.
embraced the which I love Digimortal. I'll talk about it one day on this
I like that
podcast
album too.
but
Definitely
they
have to talk
took
about
that era and they're like, let's go take that a step further. And then Dino listens to Veil of Maya, Born of Osiris, Amur, all these bands that took up what he was
Amur?
doing.
I think it's Amur.
Emur.
Amur. I like
Emo?
Amur though.
Emur,
Amur.
You hanging out with Danny? Go on.
And Dino goes, okay, I like what they're doing, and I'm going to take bits and pieces from that now. That more of a jumbly type mechanized feel to the riff as opposed to what Demanufacture was it was very thrash oriented. And he stepped away from that, and now it's just like you were describing the record, which is just flat, kind of baseless.
Yeah, like modern death metal production is what it sounds like.
Yeah, it really does.
You know, it sounds like an Arcspire record or some shit like that.
They did the thing that I always want with a lot of bands where it's like, oh, I love this band from back in the day, but man, it would be cool to hear them
modern
with
take.
this
Yeah.
production, and that's what they did with this album.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's
It's,
insane.
like you don't get that very
Yeah.
often because a lot
You
of
don't
times
at
those
all.
bands will just keep doing the same thing. You know, they're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna go back to the guy that did the same style like that we did before. But to hear this like version of this band, I was like, yeah, I'm on board.
There's nothing.
So
There's nothing
fucking
worse than
cool.
a band that's grandfathered in are what I consider bad music fans, where they don't. You could talk to some bands and they're killing it right now, and be like, "Hey, yeah, blah blah blah, Dillinger Escape Band." They'd be like, "Never listen to them," and you're like, you're not cognizant of what's going on around you because you are stuck in 1984,
Right. Yeah,
and it's just like.
you're
Fuck
in a little
that.
time capsule.
That's nonsensical.
Sucks,
That's why I
yeah.
give props to a band like an Anthrax, who I felt kind of at least we're aware of the times where obviously Scott Ian did a record with Keith Buckley from Every Time I Die and the dudes from Fall Out Boy, whatever that band was called, Damn Things is what they were called.
The damned things.
And
yeah.
they were just aware of shit popping around them, and I think that is charming to me. You know, it's just the music doesn't stop getting created just because you're stuck in that era. Talk to Motley Crue, I guarantee they know nothing about bands going on right now.
Yeah.
Maybe they know Machine Gun Kelly. And it's because he played fucking Tommy Lee in that shit.
Well,
in that movie.
I feel with groups like that, the only reason why they are cognizant of anything in like the current times is because of their PR. You know,
or they say you
put
need
it
to
on the
tour with
map.
these bands
Right,
to
you
get the
need to
kids
do
out.
this. You need to get this guy on your album because we got to get those people now. And they're just like, all right, I don't know who the fuck he is, but all right, if that's what you say, let's do it. You know, like weird shit like that. Like the big one that pops in my head is the Ozzy and
Post Malone.
yeah, which is
Oh,
like,
God.
come on, you think Ozzy is like cognizant of Post Malone?
Yeah, his
Yeah.
management is a
His
share.
management is.
Yeah, and Cheryl's like, you got to do this.
This guy's huge.
Yeah.
Get on with him now.
And Post
you know?
Malone, I believe, is in the midst of he's doing a country record, like a traditional style country, almost like 90s Brooks and
Gonna
Dunny.
Go back to the emo,
Hip-hop.
metalcore roots.
You know,
like that.
I was talking with some people last night about, remember that band? You guys maybe don't remember the band The Bronx?
Yeah.
They were like Every Time I Die, like
They
kind
just
of.
put out a song
And El Bronx.
recently. I saw.
Yeah, Mariachi El Bronx is what I was driving at, which is
Love that.
you could do right now we have a guy like Machine Gun Kelly, who I mentioned 2 minutes ago, who he revamped his career and now is doing emo type pop punk.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and he was a straight Eminem hip hop type deal, or whatever.
Because Eminem like buried his ass and
Eminem destroyed his ass.
Like, he's no longer rapping.
He's no longer allowed to rap.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And Eminem
Eminem
is one of the baddest MCs of all time. He really is.
Why would you attempt to take him on? Like, so stupid.
But I'm thinking if we might get to the point where this is a band discussion for our yesteryear or whatever. But if we did a record where it was like almost like lounge music, like the Popular song, and we did one record with it, and it was like,
it'd be fun.
Yeah, it would just be a one-off record, and if you do it right,
because that's the one that's going to take off, and we're going to have to do it for the rest of our lives.
Or we're going to have just runs where it's that whatever. That album. But there's something.
Bronx does it well.
They do it super well because really Mariachi El Bronx, I'd argue, is just as popular as the Bronx, if not more.
I think it's a bit more
because
I feel like I know people are
Every
more
Time I Die
with.
light.
Yeah, because dude, Every Time I Die will destroy the Bronx, and they try to put him in the same conversation. I'm like, no.
Yeah, they don't.
Every Time I Die is. I got to give that band so much props, man, because they're like the band. It's them, Lamb of God. As far as the big four of whatever that metalcore shit is, I would put, this is what I would say. I mean, like, and these sound weird, and I know people are going to get pissed. I don't really give a fuck. I would say Lamb of God. I want to put Meshuggah in there because I think that they have a groove that has transcended the metal thing they rap. I would put even though I'm not a Killswitch fan, I put them in there, and I would put Every Time I Die as the fourth, as like almost the Anthrax of what that is.
That is like the four that really encompass that era.
I know, right?
Like, to a T. If you listen to those four bands, you now know everything you need to know of that era.
Yes.
You know?
No,
like
seriously.
That was going on.
And and I see Every Time I Die is the new Anthrax. They have a party atmosphere. The riffs are killer, and the mystique behind, they don't have mystique because they're kind of open book, but everyone knows this right now. I'm a bit Monsters wrestling fan. You know the guitarist of Every Time I Die is a pro wrestler.
Oh yeah,
he wrestles for
Andy
AEW
Williams or whatever. Yeah.
So, and they're from Buffalo, New York. They're the only good band ever come out of Buffalo. Vincent Gallo is the only thing that comes out about Buffalo that's as good as them. You know, he's the director. If you just sit, but it's just they have just an aesthetic around them that just works. And also, their whole first catalog is a total breakdown fest, and they could have really just gone to that well, but they didn't. They went more pop songy with it, and they're just great.
Yeah,
and that's those four bands, man. And people say, well, what about fucking Shadows Fall? And I go, no. Like, Shadows Fall was rad. Do not get me wrong. I love that band. I love them. God forbid. The list goes on.
Yeah,
those are the four.
Well, I mean, Every Time I Die, too, is still, like, very relevant. I don't like Every Time I Die as a band. I've never really liked them, and that's just a personal preference. I've never been into them musically. Like, I admire their success, and I know they're a giant band. I did get salty once because I read a Metal Sucks article about how, like, they were basically just, like, sucking their dicks, saying, like, you know what, Every Time I Die, they still go on tour and stay at Motel 6s every night. It's like... So, like, what? Good for them.
You say, you guys got a motel? We don't got a fucking motel. We don't have anything.
It's just like, what? Like, okay, like, oh, they're still road dogging it. It's like, okay, I don't care.
They don't.
Like,
by the way, they're not road dogging.
Way more money I am.
They do have a tour bus now. I've seen the last several times I've seen them. They are on a fucking tour bus. That's big. Trust me. They are making a lot of money, and they always. First of all, with Every Time I Die, if we're talking about those bands, first of all, the girls love them.
Sure.
That's the girl. No, I'm serious. Like, you go to their show and it's like split down the middle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They are babes. And I'm not talking about like, they don't, whatever. I'm sure they're attractive, but I'm saying they're just women at the shows.
Yeah.
If you go to a Meshuggah show, there's probably a few of them, but it's a dude fest.
Yeah.
Lamb of God, dudes. And then whatever that other band I named was, it's just Killswitch maybe.
There's a good amount of women.
Yeah, but Every Time I Die is the band that caters because it has such a fucking groove to it.
Vibe.
It's a party vibe.
It's a party vibe.
You know,
pretty universal.
Well, I mean, and they appeal. So, I mean, you got Keith Buckley, who's like the
kind of the
literature dude, and he's like a smart guy. So it's like tongue in cheek.
Oh, by the way, he did a thing where this fucking pissed me off. Everyone knows my gimmick that I started 10 years ago wearing the cardigan on stage. I get shit. I get. You know, I have to wear it when we played 90-degree fucking outdoor shows.
Yeah, you didn't think that one through.
But he played a show. We played a show with fucking Every Time I... We didn't play with Every Time I Die, but they played the same night we played, the night of the pandemic started, with Bongzilla.
Yeah.
And then...
Every Time I Die played that?
They played at Metro. We didn't go because we had to play with Bongzilla.
But he was wearing a cardigan.
He's wearing a cardigan, and people were like, "Go, he's this," and everyone's sending me pictures of this shit. Yeah. And I go, "Just fucking." I think that was an isolated thing, though.
Incident,
God, because God willing, But he is the shit live, and that band rules live. They're so good, and I've seen them crush big places, small places. Mm-hmm. They're one of those bands that I've seen them play for Warped Tour far as the eye could see with people, and I've seen them play Bottom Lounge and just own it. And they're one of the bands that it's kind of like wrestling reference. When Ric Flair does a promo, you could be watching on TV. It's like he's talking just to you. When Every Time I Die plays, sea of people, small amount of people. It's like it's quaint always. Yeah. They're just right up in your mix, and that's really Dillinger had that vibe too, where it was just like you could be all the way in the back and you think that you're really fucking close to them. Yep. And then there's bands where you see them and you just feel so detached when they play because it's so fucking sterile. Yeah. Megadeth's an example of that.
Sure.
Where it's like if you're all the way in the back, you kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
I was when I saw them too, and I did feel that way. I also didn't really. I've never been a giant Megadeth guy. Like I've liked a few of their songs, but like Metallica was that band.
Megadeth has taken some hits on this podcast today. I came in hot with an anti-Mustaine thing.
That's okay, fair. Man. Yeah. Anti-Mustaine agenda that you can walk up in here with.
In our charter for the show.
Yeah, big Mustaine, dude. But yeah, anyway, I also wanted to bring up. I saw an article literally like a day or two ago. The PRP put out. It was like.
PRP?
Yeah, it was like a quote from some interview Jesse Leach did recently, but he basically just came out and said, he was like, yeah, I don't listen to any music that sounds remotely like Killswitch. Like, I don't really like the style. And he just like came out and said, he was just like, he was just like, he was like, I acknowledge that, we were a part of, building that style up for a lot of other people, and I respect that, but he's like, it's just not my cup of tea. And then, like, everybody in the comments was just like, fuck this guy, or like, yeah, I get it. Or other people were like, I can't believe he would say that about his style of music. And it's like,
I mean, I feel like that's most musicians.
Yeah. I mean, a band like Killswitch, and they're like, the difference between a band like Every Time I Die and Killswitch is like people still talk about Every Time I Die like in relevance. They still talk about them
Killswitch
continuously kicking ass. I mean,
gone under the radar.
Everybody
maybe Killswitch shouldn't be in those top four. They made a huge dent.
I think they did in the times, but I mean now, like since Jesse's been back in the band, I feel like it's just been a steady decline for them.
Every Time I Die is still doing relevant shit, and everyone loves their records, and
they're
they bang.
still selling out the Metro. Killswitch isn't doing that. They're playing Radius and like with a package. And
I think the thing I love about Every Time I Die is they are a scene band that wore the white belts and all the stupidity, but at the same time. If it's cool to be a metal kid and like them. I've never not liked that band. I always thought they were great. I did initially get a little sick when I heard Hot Damn was a monstrous record for them. Okay. And it was the record.
Was the first one I heard.
That was a
big record.
That was a monstrous record. But I just started cautiously liking them at the time because I said to people, I'm like,
it was really different at the time too.
It was different, but I'm like, this is a breakdown fest, and if they're going to be doing this their whole career, I'm fucking out. And then they made good on it because the next record, which I think is Gutter Phenomenon.
That's the one I heard first.
Which was amazing. And they went away from the breakdown and just wrote great songs.
Yeah.
That's where they lost.
That's the first album I heard was
I do like that album
because I
lost me a little bit on that one.
I remember hearing Gutter Phenomenon and I didn't like it at the time, but I remember at least thinking like, wow, there's like not any breakdowns here, and it's way different than what any. And I didn't get it because like Every Time I Die appealed to like the Warped Tour crowd.
Yeah.
And I still don't really put that together. Like I know guys that are like they play in pop punk bands and they love Every Time I Die, and I'm like, what am I missing out? Yeah, what am I missing here? Like I don't get but I respect that like they have that much of a reach, and on top of that, they're still super relevant.
Very crossovery because they could slay it at a Warped Tour or an Ozfest or whatever. I mean, wherever you put them. They could tour with a metal band. They could tour with Thursday, the band Thursday, and play a show on Thursday. But
Thursday
on Thursday.
Do you like Thursday?
Nope. Okay. I don't like anything pop punk for the most part. I like punk rock. I like old punk rock. I love Sex Pistols are amazing. If you ever listen to a band, does anyone even like Plasmatics? You ever listen to that
I
band?
know them.
All right, so like that style punk is the shit, and Dead Kennedy stuff like that. But it's when it got poppy. I said not the band poppy, but I'm just like I'm fucking checked out. I can't do pop punk.
Yeah,
and
I can't really much either.
I will say that not a resurgence coming up, but with bands like one of the biggest ones is My Chemical Romance, and they're a little harder than like regular traditional pop punk, but they are. And I think that those guys came up with like Every Time I Die and did a lot of shows with them.
Oh yeah.
And there was a big movement on that East Coast.
Yeah.
where it was the Jersey area and the core bands like Dillinger with the pop punk bands always kind of brush up against each other. And it just worked.
Makes
it was
sense.
all on that East Coast.
Yeah.
Every time I dies from Buffalo, so.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a band called Envy from Japan?
I've seen them
like them?
like several times, like 3 times. I think they're rad. I saw them always with bands that I liked more than them.
Okay.
So I saw Trash Talk open up for them. They fucking blew them away.
Really? Trash Talk and Envy?
Yeah.
What a weird show.
Oh yeah.
I love Envy. I love that
I love
band.
Trash Talk.
Yeah.
Like that
Are they
is
still a band?
They take long breaks, but that band is ferocious.
Yeah, dude. Rich, who used to be in Warforged, loved Trash Talk. That was like one of his favorite bands.
Dude, they are so good. We played with them. When I say we, it's my old band used to practice in this practice space called the Muzzler. We played I think Trash Talk's first time in Chicago at Ronnie's.
Okay.
Cool.
And it was crazy. And those guys, they were just making a name, so people showed up, and it was at Ronnie's. So it was small.
Yeah.
Ronnie's maybe holds 100, 80 probably actually. But then Trash Talk kept getting bigger and doing tours, and they're just so fucking ferocious live. Probably the best time I saw them was they played a Pitchfork after show at Bottom Lounge, and it was fucking ridiculous. I saw them at Shuba's once. They were insane. Metro. The last time I saw them was probably about 2 years before COVID or a year and a half before COVID. The last time they played Cobra Lounge, and they played with, I want to say, that band who they kick ass, Burdened from Chicago opened up.
Oh, yeah. The hardcore band?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw Burden, I saw Trash Talk, and it was a show that
Aren't
was
some of the dudes in Bovicen burdened? Or
maybe.
were burdened? I thought. Hell
was
yeah.
that a riff?
Yeah. We got lots of riffs here, man.
Is that a 5150?
Something like that. JCM 800.
That might be Bovice playing actually.
They practice at Adams, man.
Yeah, they do. But Trash Talk is the shit live, and great band that is the perfect balance of, I would say, old punk rock, old hardcore, new vibe. They have they're on that label Odd Future.
Yeah, they're on Tyler the Creator's fucking label.
And hip hop kids love them too.
Yeah, I know.
And they have a huge pseudo hip hop influence in their shit.
Yeah.
But it's not like rap metal.
No, it's not like that.
And they just know what they're doing. And also their record sound, as opposed to metalcore shit that sounds very kind of like this, where it sounds like that crunchy guitar.
Yeah.
It sounds like a traditional Marshall stack just turned up. Not with the overdrive cranked and a fucking tube screamer on it. It's just like rock guitar tone heavy.
Yeah.
And great band, man. I love Trash Talk. They're one of my favorite bands from that metalcore resurgence or whatever, or hardcore resurgence. They're just fucking outstanding.
Yeah, definitely. I've never seen Trash Talk, but I remember that iconic like upside down peace sign shirt they had, and like yeah, I don't know. I know, like, I remember them I feel like they were getting so big, and then I was just like, okay, like, I feel like they kind of like, I just stopped hearing about
They
them
go
as
away
much.
for long stretches of time.
Yeah,
And also
makes
they
sense.
they fuck with, 2 of the guys own a clothing brand. It's kind of like what Something Is Waiting is doing, but actually doing it, where they're moving merch with that, just like their little cute ideas on it, and selling it to like skateboard culture and shit like that.
Yeah. Where
Where it's like, people are in skateboarding, people know this who skate nowadays. At least they used to be into like the all over print shirts and all that shit. Now it's kind of coming back, but now it's minimalist, where it's blank shirt but like the littlest logo right here, and that's $35.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's that's like a cool thing, you know. But they have a clothing brand. I forget what it's called, but they do that. They own a shop that has that's a clothing shop in LA. I think it's called Babylon, and they have a ramp in the back, skate ramp. So they're doing shit. It's just not wrapped around touring, but who knows what 2022 will bring for that band. They could go on a world tour or whatever, but that band's the shit.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. Hopefully they come back and do something fucking sweet.
And I have no clue what Fear Factory's doing, which is the subject of this conversation, because they don't have a vocalist
where
right
do they
now.
go from
yeah.
here?
I don't know. I mean, I know that they're looking at guys, but that's about all I know.
They're going to get some internet hero or whatever.
Like that, though.
Yeah, it's Burton is irreplaceable.
Yeah, I mean, this album was it was a 6-year gap between the last album and this one. And I remember seeing, like, this album, I think, was supposed to be called Monolith.
Yeah,
like,
and there's a song called Monolith on it. Yeah.
Which makes sense. So I think they were going to name the album after that. And they shared some, like, fake album cover for it a long time ago.
Which looked like a monolith, which I
Yeah.
believe is a statue that just exists in a foreign environment or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the monolith from 2001.
Yep,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they can go one of two routes, which is essentially get some other like iconic singer that is nothing like Burton C. Bell and go from there.
Like maybe a Howard Jones. Is he doing anything?
Yeah, he just did a new project with that fucker Jared Dines.
And he's doing that.
How embarrassing.
And he's still doing that thing with Art.
A Light the Torch.
Tosado.
Yeah, Light the Torch just did. Yeah, here it was. That cover. Much worse than the current cover, I think. But I do like the.
I mean, I think it's on par with what they.
Yeah, I guess. There's no 2 Fs though, man.
Fuck.
Need to have the Fs, dude.
You know, the one thing that crossed my mind.
Or I was gonna say, to finish my point, they either get
Yeah,
somebody
sorry.
that's iconic, or it's just some dude. You know, like internet
Yeah.
dude.
If it's some dude,
that's on. That
if
is
it's
close
some-
as you can get to Burton.
yeah, he's gonna be fucked if it's some dude.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking is, what about the concept of don't put it past them to use tracks?
Oh yeah.
Not
The
out of the realm
vocal
of
tracks, you think
possibility.
they would
Yes,
do?
which would be the first band to do it. Like Dio did. Like the first band to
do it up front.
do up front. Yes.
Yeah. Plenty of bands that
Do it.
do it.
Yeah.
They just don't. They don't.
Yeah,
admit
that
it.
would just be
Yeah.
nuts. Like, what would they do going forward then as a band? Like, they'll need somebody, and Burton's not
mean,
going
it
to work with them.
Sucks that they just released this album.
Yeah.
I mean,
This
it's
might
like,
be their death blow. I don't know. I just I don't
it's either
think
that or get a new vocalist.
I
do
mean,
a
they're
new album
gonna.
right
I'm sure
away,
they will find a
and
new
then just
guy.
go from
It'll
there.
probably be like a Tommy Vex dude, like they got.
Oh,
from
they
fucking-
could probably get Vex to do it
I don't
because he's
think
out of a
That's
band.
solo thing.
Yeah, he's doing
He's
a solo
partially
thing, and
canceled,
Dino
isn't he?
hates him still. Yeah, and he's canceled. Tommy Vex was canceled, and Dino and him already got into beef
Well, I mean,
through
During,
Divine Heresy.
there's some validity to the concept of when people start parting ways from people who are enemies. They look around, they say, we have no friends, therefore we need to be friends because we have no choice.
There's nobody else left.
So Vex and Dino might be two of those people where the cheese stands alone. You know, they have to fucking
Maybe.
yeah. Vex would be the perfect guy, I think. Or
It's the people that's like, well, if we're still single by the time we're 36, we're gonna get married together. And
Yeah.
that's what happens.
I don't know, man. I would be curious to see what they end up doing, but I think it's sick that they're still doing it and there's finally some traction for them, you know. And it's an awesome album. It's just really fun. Like, it's a cool album. Yeah,
it
I like
sounds great.
And I don't know who does. I was trying to figure out. It's some guy because I looked in the booklet because there's that guitar solo in the song Monolith, and I'm like, there's no way that's Dino. He doesn't solo. Like, he doesn't do shit like that. And I
Yeah.
looked it up, and it's some guitar player I've never heard of before.
You don't remember?
Really?
No,
Okay.
I don't even remember the name. I'll report back with it, but yeah, I have no idea who the guy was. It might be on Metal
Dino
Archives
does
even.
one Fear Factory solo, I think, which is in a song called Fear Campaign.
Uh-huh.
And it's on the album Mechanized.
Okay.
So if you want to hear it, and it's a
Taste
great
of,
song.
Dino.
He's shredding, and he does the whole whatever that move is where you take the pick and you go like you
Oh,
tap the
pick slide?
fretboard.
Oh,
No, you
the-
tap the fretboard.
Yeah. Just another version of tapping. I guess.
Was
There
that
is
his
probably
album
more
Back?
technical term.
Mechanized? That was the one he returned on, right?
That's yes.
Okay, and then yeah, Genexus was the last one. I never heard that. And then yeah, so the guy. Let me see if they credit him here yet. No, it's only the booklet for some reason. But yeah, they say it's some dude I haven't heard. But I like that song too because that was like a different, you know. Oh, you know what? And Dino did play bass on this record.
Okay.
He did it
Okay.
himself. And Andy Sneap mixed and mastered it,
Yeah,
which
and
sounds about right.
Sneap is
Interesting.
yeah.
And you know who did this album cover, man? Francesco Artusato from fucking Light the Torch,
the
that Killswitch
fuck?
band, yeah.
I didn't know that
Because
guy
he
did
does all
that
their
stuff.
artwork.
Does he?
Yeah, he did this space station ass fucking cover. I got a shirt with this on it. I love it.
that is a pretty decent cover.
And I got the biggest size I could get, so it was like nice and baggy, like Dino style.
size?
Yeah. So I got the biggest size. It's fucking awesome.
I have a lot of 4X and 5X shirts at my home that I use as nightgowns.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I prefer buying huge band or wrestling shirts at this
Yeah.
point and just doing that whole thing. And then worst case scenarios, I've been doing a tuck-in shirt thing as of
yeah.
late, and that is rad. It's a good little look.
Yeah.
But this record rules. I'm
it's
just
awesome.
it's just disappointing. And
It is disappointing.
which is being a fan of Fear Factory when they broke up and broke my heart back in the year 2000. It was much the same, man. It's just been 20 years of just the roller coaster that is their band, and then someone's eventually going to die, and they're all going to come to Jesus and say, "Man, that guy was really cool. We should have." And it's just here we go, you know.
Yeah, the woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Woulda, coulda, should have, and just
Yeah.
fucking do it, man.
Oh, what is Burton doing now? He's got that.
A project that's called Ascension of the Watchers, which is
Yeah.
very cool.
Uh-huh.
It's just do both, please.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. Please just do it.
Just do it.
Like who's
Do it for me.
I've never heard an Ascension of the Watchers
Nah, I've
song.
never checked it out.
I don't think.
It's.
I mean,
I've seen them
are they
live.
touring? Oh, they do tour?
Yeah, they do tour, and if memory serves, it's a 3-piece. And Burton C. Bell, I think for the live set at least, plays guitar and sings.
Oh shit.
So there's something there where he's evolving as like a musician in that world.
Sure.
But cool project. And
does it sound anything like Fear Factory?
yeah, think of like the best comparison would be you say you're an Obsolete fan. The last song on that record, Timelessness.
Yeah, okay.
Which is just him singing by himself.
Yeah.
It's more in that vein with
like that song.
but adding riffs to it.
Yeah.
That's what it
cool.
is. So
Interesting.
you'll dig it. I think Adam T and I Adam T from Thieves and I were talking about it not too long ago, and he goes, "Yeah, this is dope." I'm like, "Yeah, it is dope." I think that was before Burton quit the band though, Fear
Sure.
Factory. So we had a more optimistic take on him still doing Fear Factory, and now it's just like, well, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see where it goes for him. I mean, at least they're on like a label like Nuclear Blast, which will take care of them decently enough, and like not like it's like these. You go on streaming services, you can't hear half of their discography because of legal fucking issues with whatever label and whatever.
Fear Factory is one of them. They're missing a couple records from
no,
their.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like
from their Spotify and shit.
records that Dino's not on, you can't hear anywhere on streaming services. Like,
Those were released. I think I want to say on that label
Candlelight.
called. It was Candlelight.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it was E1, which I believe is.
really?
E1
I know
is
E1.
a new bigger label.
They took over like
Something.
Good Fight and Ferret and shit. E1 did, and they ended up. E1 is like a whole production company, but their label took over those labels. But E1 does like movies and shit. They distribute like horror movies and stuff like that.
What?
Like
Really?
yeah. They're a production team thing, and like
alright.
their record label, like The Contortionist, is on E1, and like a lot of like relevant modern bands are on E1. There was a rumor that the Red Chord was supposedly about to sign to E1 if they had done another record.
continued.
Yeah, because there was like an E1 showcase that they played, and like it was, I don't know, interesting to me. 'Cause
I know.
they were on Metal
Very
Blade, and
interesting.
Man, all those labels that were kind of the it labels when we were growing up have all been absorbed.
oh yeah,
They're all these labels like Spitfire, Candlelight.
Yeah.
Is Century Media still a label? They got.
yeah, they're coming back.
Oh, they're
man.
coming
Yeah,
back,
they're
but they had to go away legally for a while.
They did at least for a minute, yeah. But I mean, now they're signing all these crazy like
There were
really good
there were
death
big
metal
issues with that.
bands, dude.
I think they just signed a bunch of bands and they said we ran out of money and now we're screwed.
Yeah.
Well, they
Until
were
we,
like,
Well, I mean, a lot of labels
they
are
had
doing
signed
that.
Behemoth, Arch Enemy, God Forbid, shit like that, and then they kind of like dwindled down. I mean, they had signed Tesseract, like Tesseract did their first album on that, the Gent Band.
Yeah.
Oh,
Their
yeah.
first
No
album
shit.
was a Century Media. I want to say the first two are Century Media records.
Mike have anything
and then
to
they
do with
ended
that?
up.
Mike.
Jack about. Didn't he?
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Yes. Okay. There
Yeah,
might be something.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyway.
And then his label is huge too. Sumerian is still
oh my
doing
God,
it. Is
they're
monstrous.
giant, yeah.
Yeah.
They're huge. But Century Media now, they signed Imperial Triumphant, they signed Vitriol, they signed Black Crown Initiate. They've been signing like bands that like are
making some
like
moves again,
exactly. Some cool like
Interesting.
relevant
I
death
wonder
metal
who's-
bands. It's like, oh, that's awesome. They're
I
putting
wonder
their
who's
foot in
behind
there.
that then.
And there's still bands like Naglfar, the black metal
Naglfar
band.
B-sides.
Yeah, Naglfar B-sides. Naglfar put out a new record on Century Media like a year or two ago that was sick. So, and they were
Interesting.
always they've been a Century Media band their whole career. So I guess they've kept it up with some of their bands, but like I don't know who the fuck Arch Enemy is signed to now or care really. But
They're still very popular. They
yeah,
might.
they're huge.
I think when you.
they're on something bigger.
I think at this point you got to do if you want to. Metallica kind of does it. Metallica has the main distributor of their record is their own record label called
yeah.
Blackened.
Yeah.
If you're a big enough band and you already have an established whatever following and everything,
Yeah.
put out your own shit. Arch
Yeah.
Enemy should just do Arch Enemy label or whatever and make
Yeah.
all the fucking money because everyone just complains left and right about record sales.
Yeah.
And people still buy records.
Oh, yeah.
They do. They buy LPs. And they're just bitching about the fact that they don't make any money from it. So if they see $1 from every LP sold and the label sees 12, then that's where the issue
Yeah.
comes in. So be your own fucking label. it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you really, if you got the balls to do it.
Yeah, that's
you know?
true. Periphery did it. They were one of the newer bands to do it. They jumped ship from Sumerian. into
Periphery
their own
and
label.
what's the Protest the Hero?
Protest
We're like
the
the
Hero,
two
yeah.
that really like.
And Periphery's label is actually a subsidiary with E1. Like they work with E1 on their own label for like distribution and shit.
Yeah, and then you could also do a thing where you sign a distribution deal and be like, we'll take on the brunt of the costs and we'll make the brunt of the money, but you're going to get something for distributing it.
Yep.
and it's kind of a win-win. You get into Europe. It's hard to get into record stores, period.
Yeah.
And still, I would argue that the majority of fans buy music from not running into it at a record store. They buy it from the band directly through their social media pages, their online stores. So don't fucking fool yourself that people actually go record shopping saying, I'm going to give this a chance. People don't do that as much as they used to. They used to be a thing with, this record cover looks rad, I'm going to give it a whirl. No, they just buy it. It's pre-sale sold. I need this vinyl because it's a swirly type deal with a fucking dildo on it. And it just goes from there.
Swirly
So that's where if that's where the majority of sales are coming, don't be afraid to release it yourself if that's the case. You know?
Exactly. Well, shit. Shall we call it? It's already 2:00.
What I'm gonna call right now is that is a LTD guitar going through a TV 5150 into a Marshall cab.
Yeah.
Calling it.
What band is that?
I have no idea.
We're playing with them tonight.
Yeah.
I'm stoked that, like I said, I have not really seen a traditional rock show yet.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
Yeah, it's
Meaning
coming.
I think I'm going to be going to see Dead to Fall and The Killer.
Oh, which day are you
fuck
going?
Yeah. Are you going?
I'm gonna try and go to Saturday if there's still tickets.
Yeah, so
available.
I was with my friend Raz last night, and we're with a bunch of motherfuckers, and he goes, someone goes, you get your tickets yet? Which night are you going? And I already know what they're talking about. I go, no, I'm going, and they go to Friday, and I go, whoa, and there's like, you gotta go to Friday, and I go, what does that mean? And they all had a conversation. They all bought Friday. So I go,
okay.
I might be at both. Like, and they go, well, just make sure you're at Friday. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Fair
I go,
enough,
but I might be at both because I like both those bands a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And it's in the parking lot of Cobra Lounge, which is great.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I cannot wait. I haven't seen Dead to Fall since we played with them.
I haven't seen them since before then because I was on tour when you played with them.
Dude, that show was sick.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I wish
That
I
was
there.
that as a Cobra.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah. I just liked it because it's like that band's been around for so long, and so it's like people our age and older, and everybody was like, "We're going hard for the first song," and I was like, "We can't go hard anymore. It hurts. All right, we're gonna wait till they play the Best Dreams, and then it's all in." Yeah.
So people. They came out for Dead to Fall set hard, and they exactly like Bill said, and there was a lull in the middle where there was a lot of
in between those songs,
like this and drinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the bar.
Dude, all those motherfuckers. You want to see the drunkest show ever? Go to that Dead to Fall Killer show. When kids would work out and pump up to get ready for the show, now they're pre-gaming, and they're all like fucking just like low-fi.
So is this the OG Dead to Fall lineup then? Not any of the later guys?
There's OG members for sure, and I want to say it's I want to say there are people. No, it's mainly OG people.
Okay. Are they playing like the later shit too? Like, do they play stuff from Are You Serious at all?
Yeah, they played when we played.
They did.
When we played with them, they played. I want to say, what's the fucking song? Major Rager.
Yeah, I love that.
And
song.
I think they played the song Chum Fiesta. If you remember that, which is a jam. Yeah. And
Chum.
they might have played a song called Crop Grower on that one too.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah. So they played some shit off it.
Cool. That's awesome.
My shit is still fucking the first one.
Oh,
everything I touch falls to
yeah.
pieces. Dude, that is the shit.
That's everybody's shit around here that's older than me. I literally discovered Dead to Fall on Phoenix Throne. That was out when I discovered them. So they were already on Victory and like way down that rabbit hole. And I didn't I went back to that. I do think that album's sick, but at the time I was like, oh, it doesn't sound anything like this band sounds now. But obviously, because it's all different guys, but yeah, good shit, man. I saw Dead to Fall's last show at the Metro with Veil of Maya and Carnivale, and somebody else played.
Yeah, Devil's Pie.
Yeah, Devil's Pie played.
Yeah.
I was
that the one
I was
that
in,
they
I was still in
rotated
high
people out?
school, man.
Was that the other?
That was when
last show?
I think that was when they were doing Reggie's, when they were doing their comeback. Because remember they did that Darkest
Yeah.
Hour show, and then they announced a second show where they headlined.
Yes,
I ended up going. To the
I think we were out of town, but the last time they played Chicago was definitely the show we played with them
Yeah.
at Cobra.
yeah.
They haven't.
Oh,
they
that
haven't
was
been.
the last. That was the last time.
Which was 3-4 years ago at this point because we lost a year due to COVID or whatever. So
Yeah.
COVID-19.
due to COVID-19.
Looking forward to not hearing that before everything.
Yeah.
So good, but that show will be great. I'm so stoked for it, and that's gonna be the show where I like bust my cherry again with going to an actual legit pseudo rock show. I've seen some tribute bands since the band started lifting. Great, fun time. Some shows coming up I might dabble with, but that's gonna be the first one where it's like a game on show, and that's kind of right around the corner. I think it's like 6 weeks away.
Yeah.
But still, I'm down.
Nice.
So stoked.
That'd be fun.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
Well,
This was
sweet.
dope.
We're over 3 hours,
where
right?
them plugs at?
Are we over 3 hours?
I think we're just.
We started late though.
Okay.
Yeah, we started late.
And
Gotcha.
there's a good chunk that I have to get rid of in the beginning.
Alrighty. Yeah, do you
But,
guys well, we got our show, Roman Ring with Hive and these fuck.
Something about serpents.
Yeah, god damn it.
In the company of serpents.
In the company of serpents.
I was
thank
waiting
you.
for you guys to say the own name of the band you're fucking playing with on your own fucking
in the
gig.
I couldn't remember if it's These Arms Are Snakes or We Came with Fuck.
We came with serpent arms.
It's hard to fucking remember.
What do I have to promote? I do have I have an upcoming DJ
Yeah.
gig, which is going to be announced this week.
Nice.
I have Bill and I have something is waiting show. Just got confirmed. We can't announce it yet, but it's going to be a good one.
Tell me after this.
And then also, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, my birthday is on the same night as your show.
Fuck
So
yeah.
if you see me at the Roman Ring show September 4th, that's my birthday.
Yeah.
And then I'm
we're
wrestling.
gonna smoke you out, dude. We're gonna hot box.
I'm wrestling with going to see that. You guys are Kiss, which are obviously my two favorite bands of all time, Roman Ring.
Roman
Kiss.
Ring and
Go to
Kiss.
Kiss.
Jesus,
You guys are my
man.
favorite band as far as people goes, and
Thanks,
Kiss is
man.
my favorite band musically. So it's it always sucks that shit has to line up like that for me. Where I'm just like, can't I
Right.
just have
Yeah.
fucking a normal birthday weekend where I
Yeah,
have to make a
right.
Sophie's choice?
Yeah, I hear you.
Poor me.
I hear you. Well, shout out to your birthday too, man.
Cheers.
Shit. Anything else?
I think that covers everything.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for listening, y'all, and we will catch y'all later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for checking out this week's episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Feel free to drop us a like or a comment on whatever platform you listen or watch us on. Share us on whatever social media you use. Every little bit counts, so we appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys next week.